think that it was just set up with an automatic tier 3 tree pull. Turns out the Octorok rocks, get enough of them on screen, it gives you essentially 4 enemy kills for that tier 3 tree pull. So, you know, this first tree pull will be tier 3, and you'll get a second one on a tier 1 if the tier 3 isn't any good. Eykir doing an early uncle start, which, you know, a lot of people like to do that because in SMZ3, bombs and rupees at much more of a premium. Hey, look at that. We get the tier 3, both of them getting those bombs. Not going to have to worry about bombs into Kakariko. I bet you're kind of jealous of those bombs from your earlier race today. Yeah, that's exactly what you want, is those bombs. And then, you know, we'll see if Eykir gets anything interesting here, interesting enough to send him to escape.
Yeah, we do say power bomb packs. That was the second one, I think, already.
Yeah.
So that's really good for the runners going into SM early. There's a chance Maniacal doesn't get these uncle ones early, but
and some bombs, which are pretty significant for if we have to do an early Bryn loop.
Everything
those
is
bombs really help.
There's Link to the Past bombs everywhere. There's power bombs. There's morph bombs. I don't know if we can get any more types of bombs. I guess bomb capacity.
Also of note, this is not an Agaseed, most likely. You know, after calling earlier your Agaseed this morning, then we called an Agaseed for Eykir. Yeah, nice to not have that.
All right, then we get two SM boss tokens. 2 SM boss tokens. One at Desert Palace, one at Tower of Hera, and we had a crystal in Eastern Palace. So all required dungeons in the Light World. No pendants yet. That's usually good info.
Yeah, with those 10 bombs, Eykir's just going to do bomb escape. Very nice strat there. Boomerang. Actually, the boomerang helps.
Yeah, that makes bomb escape even easier.
It makes it basically free. I don't know if it makes it necessarily faster than doing the kind of the standard strats here, but if something goes wrong, you can go back. You can back up that boomerang and freeze those guards, and it just makes it completely free to do the bomb escape. Oh, early, okay. Way early morph ball. So those power bombs suddenly become pretty significant because with just morph, there's really not a whole lot else that's in logic because we don't have any bombs to get through. Eykir having bombs and power bombs and can do everything. And Maniacal, real excited, finds those boots. Eykir's not going to miss those, though. He's going to go to Kakariko after this. So small advantage, Maniacal, but not really. You know, I mean, a couple extra, you know, maybe a couple minutes with the boots before Eykir has them. And Maniacal may not ever do back of escape or front of escape here. So, you know, which he would have the boots for. So
yeah. You know, I just gotta say, there's way too much going on right now to talk about. I love that spin speed outside of Blind's Hut for Maniacal, and at the same time, Eykir doing a really nice bomb setup for that that boomerang chest guard. Kind of a unique way to do that room. I love to see it. I love to see different strats,
absolutely,
different ways to get through things on top of all the items everywhere.
Yeah, and so the most significant thing for Eykir is that 300 rupees, which, considering we just found 300 rupees in the well. Not going to give him much of an advantage into Kakariko. So we found 2 super important items in Kakariko. And honestly, those are 2 pretty big items. I'd be pretty happy with those.
Yeah, and the sword.
And a sword. So didn't even catch the Kata sword.
Yeah, there's a sword that's going to be... Obviously, it just goes with the boots so well.
Yeah, I mean, boots without sword kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's great because you have boots, but it's just so bittersweet.
Yeah, exactly. And oh, by the way, shout outs to Jestro Zooks, who's been tracker extraordinaire for the SM tournament, the SM Randomizer tournament, filling in today for this race because our go-to people, Link Force is doing the other race, and Eykir's playing. So he's probably tracking for his race, but that's not going to work for us on stream. So huge shout out to Jestro for jumping in and doing the tracking for us. Oh, there's some power bombs from Maniacal.
Yeah, looks like Eykir setting up for another one of those tree pulls. Knowing it's the 4 bomb pack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saves from having to buy some. I guess with 300 rupees, that may not be necessary. That's a really conservative play, more so than I would expect to see. But he doesn't know he's going to have the boots.
I don't even think we ever even saw the tier 1 tree pull because the tier 3 was so good, you know?
I don't. Well, yeah, I don't think so.
Charge beam on race game.
Okay. Yeah, and their Maniacal sees the dungeon rewards with the 2 SM bosses and 1 crystal. Yeah. Oh, Eykir setting up the tier 2 tree pole there.
Yeah, I guess,
That's
yeah.
the red rupees.
But that's a good tree pull too. And what's interesting here is with that 300 rupees in the well, he's going to have Zor money. So with that combined with the boots, he could do what you probably have been seeing all weekend on the Link to the Past tournament, which is do the Zora checks with the water walks.
Yeah, that's a pretty common play for early Link to the Past with boots. Lets you get all those checks, even though they're out of logic. It makes it just feel not so terrible going all the way to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, exactly, because you can set it up right in Ice Rod Cave.
Yep, so
Okay, Eykir gets his morph ball.
Yep, morph ball, and I believe the sword was in the well. So
Yeah, the sword. I saw it this time. It was in the Blinds dropout. The Thieves Hideout, not the Thieves Hideout. The one in Lost Woods.
Yep.
Half magic. That's a nice item.
Yeah, that's nice.
And they didn't even have to kill Croc to get it this time. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be referencing your race that much, but you know, for those of you that didn't see Ace versus Andy this morning, watch the VOD. There was some absolutely crazy logic in that one, and it's worth your time.
Yeah, it is normal logic for this tournament, but normal logic means it's usually way worse than hard logic because it makes you run all over the place and do a bunch of dumb things. But it's got its own unique flair, and it's pretty fun to race. I'm interested to see that Maniacal did not scout the desert ledge with boots. I feel like that's a really quick one to get to.
Yep.
It's a little surprising that he didn't take that free information. It's only a few extra seconds, but I mean you can't get it, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like to scout it if I have flute or boots. If I don't, I think it's too long. Way too long to walk all the way over there just for something you might not need and can't get anyway. So, a little surprised he didn't do it. You know, and sometimes we just don't even think about it. There's an 8 bomb drop there. Oh my, yeah, it just bombs everywhere.
Maniacal having a
Careful.
He's still got 2 hearts left, so as long as he doesn't have an issue with one of the crabs. With sword and boots actually helps quite a lot getting through there. That makes that much safer.
Couple of super packs.
Nothing exciting there.
Yeah. Supers are nice, but you know we already have charge beams, so you still want to get just for charge by itself. We still want to get a decent amount of ammo. You know, at least get to 30, because 30 for Ridley is really comfortable for veteran runners like this. But you know, still not what you're looking for. Like it's super early. You know, we've already gotten some supers. Eykir still going to have the power bomb advantage, which could be significant when they go to Bryn Loop. It is possible to full clear pink and green Bryn Star with five power bombs if you know where to place them. But Eykir will also have the option of going into blue and do the whole, you know, Bryn Loop that doesn't take you to Kraid. Maniacal with only 5 probably won't have that option. You know, and Eykir also having regular bombs to save some of those power bombs to make sure he has enough to do the things that require the power bombs.
I believe Maniacal got a second pack,
Did
and
he?
Eykir has 3, unless I'm
Eykir, I'm pretty certain Eykir has 3. Maniacal may, he might have had a second one.
Which even still, that third pack is really nice.
10 versus 15 is pretty significant.
Because 10, you can do all the Bryn Star checks, that pretty standard Bryn Star loop like you were describing, but you have to stop and farm up a little bit to make it work.
Yeah, if you want to go to
the rest of the way.
If you want to go to blue, you need to do the extra farming. Wave beam's nice.
Oh, that's nice with the charge beam. Lets us potentially do some X factors. Maniacal definitely has practice with those if that comes up on any bosses, and just extra damage.
So wave beam, interesting in that. Now, of course, that wave beam is not in logic until we get flippers. But if we get flippers and we get a Varia suit, way to get over there. Croc. I always wave beam. If I get an early wave beam in normal mode, I'm going to Croc. Yeah. Invariably, it's going to be there.
Also required for the aptly named wave gate in Bryn Star.
Yep, logically required. And we would have broken it anyway. Well, I was listening. We won't see the super version of the wave gate. But Maniacal has a tendency to do it with supers anyway.
I approve of that decision as someone who does the same.
Do
pretty
you
often.
really? How did I not know that?
It's just easier.
No, it's not. And the funny thing is, he actually timed it at one point, even failing the strat the first time. Because there's a really nice strat where you get up there, you hit it with the wave beam and you morph and then you go down. I think if with one failure you're still faster than using the supers with no failures, but it's close enough that if you're more comfortable with the super strat, then it makes sense for him to continue to do what he likes to do better.
Yep. And with those 10 power bombs over the 5, the big difference here is able to do gauntlet. I really like this early gauntlet. It's just it kind of gives you time to think about sometimes where you want to go down Burn Star or across Wreck Ship.
Yeah, Maniacal decided to take the blue mail. Doesn't care about the bomb capacity upgrade, and that's bomb capacity upgrades are kind of nice, but don't really need them. They're still in SMZ3. I remember when they took them out of Link to the Past, the capacity upgrades. I thought I would miss them, and it really turned out that, except under really extreme circumstances where you use a bunch of wooden arrows on Armos ice Armos, I really didn't miss them. So so now when I see them in SMZ3, not a huge fan anymore, and they sometimes your arrow and bomb totals sometimes get pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, it's definitely much more helpful just to have good ways to farm bombs, say like a stun prize or, even tree poles or just good prize packs around that happen to drop a bunch of bombs, which is all just totally random. In SMZ3, there's not actually prize packs the way that the vanilla game and the Link to the Past rando works, but there's still, a random chance, and sometimes you just end up getting a bunch of enemies that drop bombs everywhere.
So, of note, I noticed both runners went and checked Lake Hylia Island a second time. I think that's because both of them have gone so deep in Link to the Past that they, instead of what often happens in Link to the Past when you're used to playing SMZ3 and you're forgetting Lake Hylia Island because you're so used to checking it first, these guys both did the other thing where they forgot they scouted it, all right? Yeah. Or just, maybe they might not have even forgotten so much. It's just, muscle memory automatic ending up checking it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you noticed, we saw a pair of flippers.
Oh yeah,
speed locked.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So still not in logic with that wave beam.
Yeah, mock ball not in logic in normal mode.
Yeah.
Okay. So that extra money that Eykir getting, paying off as he gets the Moon Pearl at Zora.
That's a big find.
That is
We're
a
still
huge find.
Quite a ways away from being able to use it, but the thing with Zora is usually when you put it off, you either don't want to do it ever, or you want to do it after Catfish with a mirror.
Yep.
And you're not going to get to Catfish.
Nope.
Without a Pearl.
So the good news for Maniacal is, the Moon Pearl blocks a lot of checks, because obviously you can't do anything in the Dark World unless you kill Aga 1 and do the ledge. The bad news is this is SMZ3, not Link to the Past. So if he finds like suits here, he could start, full clearing SM, go to Meridia, go to Lower Norfair, all sorts of things that he could end up getting baited into before he finds that Moon Pearl. So there's a lot more. The Moon Pearl doesn't. I mean, it gates the same amount of. I was gonna say it doesn't gate. I guess it gates a smaller percentage, I think, is maybe the way to put it. In SMZ3 than it does in Link to the Past, because the numbers actually. I mean, the numbers, of course, the same.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case, and we did get the, speaking of, you mentioned Lower Norfair, that is the green pendant. Eykir made the choice to talk to Sahasrah to give you that information. So that's a known there. I'm saying it again, get pendants out of my game. I've come to terms with crystals in my game, and actually I've seen some really fun things happen because of crystals in SM. Get the pendants out of my game. What about gloves? Maniacal found the glove. Pinkburn, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's good. It's a nice, easy glove to find. I'm sure Eykir will be there fairly soon, probably right after Gauntlet, but they're like, this isn't enough movement and health and everything to do Wreck Ship at this point. I mean, it's totally doable, but it just isn't a smart play.
Eykir skipping the X-ray scope. I don't mind that. You don't know if you're going to get charged plasma. I mean, you have charge. You don't know if you're going to get plasma. You know, it really doesn't do much for you unless you get Plasma Beam. Now, I also approved Maniacal taking it because maybe you do get Plasma Beam, you get some nice, easy boss fights, some really easy boss fights in Meridia in particular. So like either way is fine. Some people, X-ray is not as divisive as Spring Ball can be, but there are definitely your people that just absolutely love your X-ray pickups, and other people just say no. If I can skip it, I'm gonna skip it.
There's that supered wave gate from Maniacal with
Yep,
the wave
called
beam.
it. We're not
as
going to see.
expected.
No one's going to open up the wave gate with the wave beam because Eykir hasn't picked up wave beam yet. So, your favorite SM item? I don't know if it's your favorite SM item, but it's always the
It's up
one that.
there.
Yeah, it's always the one that in our co-op races that I was like, we don't need ice. It's not that much faster. And you're like, no, I really want ice.
It's definitely a top 5 beam, that's for sure.
Yeah, so
probably top 2.
do we are we counting grapple beam? So something's
Oh.
being left out.
Well, Spazer, obviously.
Okay.
He's getting
Yeah,
left out.
I'm good with that. Maniacal getting an extra bottle. I'm not sure if he really wanted that bottle, but it doesn't hurt to have if at some point he's at the potion shop and I mean, especially with half magic, definitely not as useful. But maybe he makes use of it later. There's that third power bomb pack from Maniacal.
Yeah, with that, he could decide to go up.
I think he's gonna do it.
I think it's.
I
Is this
7
enough to do everything? Because he's not going to be able. He's not going to be able to scout the shaft super.
which I think is fine. I think I think it's fine to leave that. Every once in a while, it has something important doing the scout ends up being really good, but it's also kind of a long scout. And Titan's mitts already.
Titan's mitts and the rupees needed for
Yeah.
Zora too. That
That's
300
gonna be
right next to it's really
yeah,
good for Maniacal.
yeah, it is. Eykir are gonna have Darkhold access very soon, if he goes to Blue Bryn. But yeah, I was saying something and I've forgotten. Lamp. Oh, we got a fire source. So there we go.
Yeah, this is just quite a stacked Bryn Star here. Eykir farming up his power bombs to get through the rest of this area. So I actually do think that Maniacal's going to get the rupees from front of Escape probably before Zora, but I'm not sure. It's hard to say at this point, or enough for somewhere else. That may not be that exciting. I like the attempt to freeze, to bail on the deboost there and freeze the Rio on Maniacal's side, but you can't freeze him when the power bomb's going off because he'll just die. All right, there we go. Now getting the ceiling E-tank on the second attempt.
25 supers. 25 supers early, really nice. I don't want to think too much about the Ridley fight, so that's super nice. So 2 more power bombs. Yes, he's gonna use 1 for Old Mother Brain. The other he'll use for 230 missiles. He doesn't need 1 for a BT. So it'll end up being a nice full loop. Yeah, like I said, not gonna be able to. I think this is what I was talking about before. Was the shaft supers. It lets Waterway be a little less orphaned.
Yeah, sometimes you just end up orphaning both of them.
Yeah, so you're orphaning both of them together, and so now if you're running out of places, now you can check them both at the same time.
All right, we'll see where Maniacal decides to go when he gets back up to Criteria. That the lamp in the midst didn't really do that much. I mean, he could rescue the old man and go up Death Mountain.
I think he goes down Red Tower into Crate.
He could choose Wreck Ship.
He
at least
could.
for the boss. You probably want another E-tank for that, even just to do the bottom of
Yeah,
of
I mean, it's not in logic. He's going to have to CWJ to get over there anyway, so it doesn't feel like a really good wreck ship. And I know you like to have at least some item to get the Sky Missiles. We have nothing good to get the
I certainly would not be going there.
Yeah,
but Maniacal's better than me.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see what. I don't feel like this is the play, and I don't feel like this is the play he'd make. So. In fact, he's going right back into Link to the Past. With that money, maybe he does prioritize. Oh, I
it's
know.
just,
No,
this
this is this is really clever. So what he did there, this was not a mistake to go in and go out. You might think that, oh, he changed his mind or he didn't really mean to go there. No, what this does is every time you transition, you get the game saves. So now if BT is nothing, and he can just reset and he'll respawn right back at the ship. So really nice heads up play there from Maniacal.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if this is faster when you don't have to activate BT.
That definitely isn't
but
faster.
But now he has to activate BT because he needs the item.
Yeah, you're not turning that down.
What I was getting at is with the old settings, with if you have morph bombs and you're going to have to do the fight and leave, it's definitely faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Without that, I'm not sure because the reset's kind of slow. Nice CWJ on Eykir's side. I've never seen that one. That's
also,
amazing.
Took a hit from one of those side hoppers. I didn't see whether it was a big one or the little one, and it goes down to only 70 health there. So if he wants to go through Blue Bryn, he's going to have to be a little careful with his health going in.
Something in his reserves.
He's
only got one reserve. So
so it could literally be
he
like
won't
5.
get double hit. As long as it's at least 5, he's okay.
It grabs his fourth power bomb
He might
pack.
have to go around Red Tower or just farm like one of these gigas here before he goes in. But he's just going for it.
Yep. He's gonna roll in. If you do this right, these guys are not gonna hit you. But you gotta be careful. Yeah, keep rolling on. Yeah, he's good now. Very nicely done.
All right, yeah, that mirror's a great find though. In that case, Maniacal's probably going to really push down Red Tower and go up to Tower of Hera. That's a required dungeon. It may not be beatable just yet. No fire source. And oh no, Lamp is here. It's not on
we just
tracker.
got Lamp.
That's right, it's not on
I
tracker.
know, it's so easy to forget.
That's why I always forget that it's you get so used to the trackers, and then without them, you don't know what's happening.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, he could do Tower of Hera. That's a really strong play for him, I think. I doubt we'll see an early X-ray from Maniacal. That's not as far as I'm aware of one of his usual strats.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't know that I've ever seen him do early X-ray, and he doesn't have the bombs to do it with bombs, which would never be in logic in normal mode anyway. So yeah, I would not expect to see that. I wouldn't expect to see
ice. That makes it
ice is another one that in hard mode would put it in logic, but not in normal.
Yeah, it's a slow check.
I mean, with E-tanks, we don't have anywhere near the E-tanks to actually put it in logic, or E-tanks plus various suit. So we're not going to see early X-ray. But yeah, he's going to get these Red Tower items, head down and kill Kraid. The thing he doesn't want, he doesn't know this, but he does not want to find a suit right now. He needs to be, for him to get that Moon Pearl and get that Darkhold access that Eykir already has. If he finds a suit, that's going to just take him further away from that Zord check, because there's going to be more stuff in SM for him to do.
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't actually work like this, but it might actually influence him that he's finding so many rupees. There's another 300 and a 50 rupee just here at the top of Red Tower, so it might feel like the game is just screaming, here's money, please use it.
Yeah, use this money.
Like, it's not how it works. The rupees are not progressive in any way, but sometimes it feels like it.
I would like to see
progressive rupees.
Not progressive rupees, but a thing that's where if there's an item on Zora, a Sphere 1, 300 rupees guaranteed. So if you get the rupees, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but then it'd be like a hint and give you help. Because how many times have we seen seeds, especially in SMZ3, but you occasionally see them in Link to the Past, where there's just so little money available, and the answer is Zora, and sometimes you don't even have a glove. And so your only farm spot is, if you don't have a good tree pull, is Blind's Hut. And, nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to watch it, do the back and forth through Blind's Hut a bunch of times to get those rupee amount. Eykir is going to go ahead and scout this. This could be big if this is something. If it's not, it's a little bit of a time loss, but not huge. Eykir just only way that I think this is really bad for Eykir is if there's nothing here but something at Waterway. And we got Gravity Suit. I didn't even see where that was.
Gravity Suit was at Spazer.
Okay, well, we're going to. I mean, the good news, bad news. There's still, that doesn't really open up that much. I mean, maybe he does Wreck Ship now because now entry is easier in the Pantoon fight. Yeah, it's pretty easy when you. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's so much safer with
This
gravity
is like
suit.
4 tanks worth.
Yeah,
Basically,
I'd
or
rather
8
have.
tanks.
Like I'd rather have this loadout that he has, or even 0 tanks gravity suit, than like 4 or 5 tanks with no suit.
Yeah.
Even though technically four no suit and 1 and none gravity are basically the same, because it's quarter damage on the enemies. Did not see what that shaft super item.
It was just rupees.
Okay,
So
so
not
yeah.
necessary. Eykir won't need to go back for it. Maniacal won't need to check it. He might end up doing that later with speed. But yeah. The Meridia. So that's the thing with normal logic. It's not in logic.
Not
for the most
really
part.
in
You don't have a
logic.
can fly. You're not
Well,
expected
okay,
to gravity
it
jump
is
at any
in
point.
logic, but Maniacal doesn't know it. Eykir has
Has the
bombs.
bombs, yes.
Even though gravity suit is, I think, easier and is definitely faster than the bomb jumps. It's the bombs that put it in logic. Gravity jumps are pretty easy, and most runners are going to be able to do it. And frankly, a gravity jump is something that you can probably pick up on the fly if you need it in a seed or want to use it in a seed from just watching a tutorial. It's not too bad. Whereas bomb jumps, it was like the one rando strat, so to speak, that I learned back in the day just from playing it when the game first came out. Not that Rando was, Rando didn't come for another 20 years, but. Okay, Eykir getting his mirror.
Yep, and we did have a crystal crate. I don't believe Maniacal checked the map or anything, but it's so fast, and since Crate himself locks 2 of the 3 items here, you might as well
you
just
pretty
do it.
much
That's
just
kind
do
of the
it no matter
mentality
what.
that most runners have. You just do it. If it's a pendant, oh well.
So yeah, so if Maniacal's following that gravity suit, he's going to follow direct ship. There's just not that much that he thinks he can do in Meridia that's worth the time. So we're going to see at least the high jump boots here over in Norfair. Maniacal might sequence break the ice beam area. 1+1, not ideal for that. In a normal logic seed, it'd be a 2 tank. No, sorry, in SMZ3 it's a 3 tank. Everything is 1 more in SMZ3 than it is in SM Rando by itself. But he could do it, and he has a crystal flash if he would need it. So he could sequence break the 2 items. Eykir gonna make use of those bomb jumps right now. Maniacal couldn't check this item. You need either not just logically, but just realistically, you just can't get up here without space jump, speed booster, or bomb jumps, as we're seeing right now from Eykir.
Yeah, I think Eykir's facing left. Hopefully, doesn't have any issues getting. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Sometimes if you're facing the wrong way, the last bomb, if it hits you, can push you
the wrong
direction.
Yeah.
It feels really weird and like some kind of just mistake in the game.
Okay, we got silver arrows, not required, but certainly good to have. Maniacal may or may not get that. This is a very easy to forget location. So good news for Maniacal is if he misses it, it's not going to stop him from finishing the game. The bad news for Maniacal is he's not going to get silvers if he forgets it.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, and it's just as easy to just not have anything else nearby. Because if you do wreck ship early after the Brinstar loop, then there's nothing else there.
Yep.
Maybe you do it with speed, along with, like you mentioned, the waterway and the shaft supers checks. But if you don't get speed and you just get the other can flies, it's just all by itself.
Yeah, and you can reset to the ship, and it's really common that you reset to the ship in SM. But sometimes when you do that reset to the ship, typically when you do that, it's not on your mind to then go check that particular location.
Yeah.
And Maniacal, as expected, is going to go ahead and take care of Tower Hera.
Yep. Nice super speed on the stairs. I always like seeing that when you pick up the bomb to go even faster. And if you don't do it right and you bomb yourself, you end up not saving any time. Well done. All right, there's our Dark World maps. We got Red Crystals, Pod, and Mire, Pendant, Ice, and Swamp, and our remaining 2 SM bosses at Skull and Turtle Rock, which means that's everything. Just regular Crystal Dragon is what we're going to have. That's the last one that we didn't know. And Phantoon.
Okay, of note, Swamp being a pendant is potentially really good for Maniacal. Maniacal over the last year he used to be kind of an inconsistent hover, has really worked hard on that hovering over the last year, having gotten back into just Link to the Past, just regular plain old Link to the Past. So he's not afraid of a hover seed. As far as I know, Eykir does not hover. Maybe Mold Arm bounces, I don't know. If a hookshot decides to be in a dumb place. And I'm saying all this forgetting it's fast cannon. So that's actually pretty relevant. So, I mean, it could be a hover seed in the sense that if we were to kill, do GT, but not.
Well, we still have the possibility of items being in Hookshot Cave
Yep.
that are Hookshot locked.
There is
that's
such
3
thing.
chests there that
Yeah,
you
that's a
can't
really
get
good
to.
point. There is such thing as a hover seed with Hookshot Cave. It can even and that can even happen with Swamp Palace being a crystal. So, Maniacal, if there is something in Hookshot Cave, definite advantage Maniacal there. But, with Fast Cannon, Swamp being a pendant makes the Swamp situation irrelevant.
All right, Eykir about to grab his gravity suits.
Yeah, we'll see what he does with it.
Maniacal's getting through Crystal Hera, or rather, whichever SM boss
Yeah,
it is, Hera.
we need to come up with a better term for that, because Boss Totem just doesn't, or Token, either one, just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah, and without a real meaningful distinction between the which boss is which, since all of them work the same functionally, you need all 4. There's no difference in them.
Yep.
So saying specifically Phantoon, Kraid, Ridley doesn't really make a difference, but sometimes it can just be fun to see.
Yeah, well, and I don't want to keep track of which one's which.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how often do you actually pay attention to whether you get a red or a blue pendant?
Oh, that's an interesting choice to save and quit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know what the thought process is.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened there.
Maniacal fell down the middle hole to
Yeah.
Moldorm.
But
like, he must have got both items, right? Did he? I didn't see,
but he's got to finish the dungeon.
I didn't see the second item.
He's still got to finish the dungeon.
Yeah, it's required.
Yeah, hard to go. I mean,
and I guess coming back later, even if he can Herapod it, it's still gonna be slower than just.
I would like this better if this were defeat Ganon.
Yeah.
Because you fall down to 2 holes, you come back right before you do GT. Maybe you have a tempered sword or a gold sword. You have a really quick Herapod, quick fight, then go into GT. But we're not going into GT. So we'll have to ask him what his thought process was there, because that did not. The fall, of course, was an accident because nobody does that on purpose. But the save and quit, yeah, I don't know.
Nice, great quick kill there from Eykir.
Yeah, Asger in chat suggesting that since it's such a slow spot, with 2 floors, it's so slow to climb back up from. But maybe just figures it just faster to come back later when you can do. Maybe you can do the rest of East Death Mountain.
I still don't think it's faster. Like even if you're already going to be right next to it, there's no way it's going to be faster with the extra entrance to the dungeon. And and even with Herapod, that doesn't save that much time. The big advantage of Herapod is not having to do the basement.
Right.
But it's certainly an okay play and understandable from the perspective of
for sure. And
and
maybe
I'll just do it later.
Yeah, and maybe he's got a better sword situation, or even the hammer. Like even the hammer's better than fighter sword.
True.
So
that's true. If he's not comfortable or not comfortable with his health, he was on his health was beeping, so it definitely makes sense. Just not stress about it. Come back later.
Gonna go ahead and get his green potion here. This is more in SMZ3. We know that's a green. It's always a green. So he's getting this more because he might want to do a camera unlock on when he gets over to Pod. Those flippers are pointing. It's funny because the glove puts the Moon Pearl over at Zora and Logic. You don't need the flippers for it, but the flippers got him back to this area, so that's really good for Maniacal. Is going to get his Moon Pearl. Will have his Dark World access, and it's the bad Dark World access with the mitts. So Wreck Ship not looking like a bad play. versus Dark World, not looking like a bad play. You've got, Mitts and Mirror means pretty decent Smith Chain access if you want to do all of that area. Can do Thieves Town. May not be able to. You might orphan an item. So we'll see how that goes. Wants this E-Tank. It's one of those. Getting the E-Tank is interesting because I early on sometimes E-Tanks can be pretty scarce, and getting that extra E-Tank it definitely helps you out. And while hell runs are not in Logic, sometimes they can be useful. But on the other hand, I know I've done exactly what Maniacal's done, where I've gone out of my way for an E-Tank like that, and then at the end of the game, I'm sitting there staring at 12 E-Tanks saying, wow, why did I grab those extra E-Tanks? I really didn't need them, because 12 E-Tanks is kind of obnoxious for veteran players.
Yeah, you really never know, and I think this early in the race, especially, it's important just to be thorough on stuff like that. That's not really that's not a corner that you're going to cut that's going to save you the race.
Yeah. I mean, we say it all the time. Close SMZ3 races are 10 minutes. So typically, a small decision like picking up that E-Tank, not going to be the difference in the race. It can happen. It's not like it's never happened, but in general, those little differences that maybe 10, 15 seconds. Since we had boots, made it faster. To pick up the E-Tank, that's much more likely in a Link to the Past only that it's going to make the difference.
Eykir having some trouble with the spin speed. He's facing to the side, which doesn't work on those manual stairs. Would be facing up or down. I was going to point out, Maniacal had a really interesting dash line, and that's a super minor thing that probably 2 people in chat care about. But interesting dash line coming out of chess game. I really like that. It looked pretty fast. I've never seen anyone else do that before.
Yeah. Eykir, on the other hand, running up the stairs, which is actually slower than walking up the stairs. So. Especially if since you're not going to be able to pump. Which for those of you that don't know, is if you're going up, in particular with stairs, if you're going up a staircase, what you want to do is go back and forth on the D-pad, right and left, and it actually makes you go a little bit faster.
All right, Eykir grabbing his crystal pendant dungeon information. It's his first foray into the Dark World, and he'll be clearing out Hera as well. Pretty much following the same path as Maniacal. He was earlier to that Moon Pearl. But a little bit slower into SM, and lost just a little bit of time on some movement techniques.
And we got red mail there. Okay, so shout outs to No Quick Swap in SMZ3, and I actually got to see that he got a map.
Yeah. And
so 2 items back, but he gets a hammer as well in Thieves Town. So yeah, now we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, that's half the people that always worry about hammerless Thieves Town would just have a huge sigh of relief there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Maniacal is one of those people that hates doing the back of Thieves without it.
I think a lot of it isn't so much love versus hate it. It's just that how concerned are you based on what's in the front. Eykir also taking a fall in Hera. This right from here. Does he have projectile?
It's not going to go far enough.
No,
he's going to have to mirror.
He's got
start over.
Yeah, that crystal switch right there. Yeah. It's not on screen, so you have to shoot it with something. And Magic Boomerang would have worked, but the blue one doesn't.
Doesn't reach.
And it doesn't have. I'm looking at the like he doesn't have anything that'll get there.
You can see his body language. He's just laughing it off a little bit, which is great. It's great to see runners have fun when you do make silly mistakes.
If you don't,
it happens. We all
we all make mistakes, and sometimes if you can't laugh it off, you're gonna cry it off.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I love seeing as soon as Eykir took that first fall, Maniacal turned and just bonked straight into the wall right next to him. Like, just both of them just moved just the wrong way. I don't know if it's nerves or the difference in the setup or just those things happen, or some combination thereof. But yeah, there's all kinds of little things you just can't quite get right.
Okay, Eykir gonna do the bomb jump to get over here to the big chest. Meanwhile, we're about to see what else is in Thieves Town.
Oh, is there still an item left here? Because
I
Eykir just got that small key in the big chest, and if he had all the items, probably wouldn't be checking the big chest at all.
That's a good point.
So if there's an item here on Moldorm, that could be big.
Now, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes Maniacal to get back here. With that hammer, this fight becomes much, much better. Spring Ball, which in normal mode doesn't do anything logically. Spring Ball and Wave Beam, although very, very different items. Spring Ball is the one that has logical implications in hard mode. Wave Beam, the one that has logical implications in normal. Well, there's nothing on Moldorm, so.
So if there is another item left, it'd be
It's
the
in
one
the basement. Yeah.
So.
Let's see. If, yeah, he's going right back in.
Yeah. Okay. And even just pause to confirm. I didn't see the pause menu, but I'm certain that's what that is. As someone who does that constantly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Forgets to keep track of their dungeon items. You always check. Is there something in here before I leave?
Yep.
And
some dungeons are easier than others for that. Like Ice Palace, for some reason. I guess because it has the 2 small keys to go with it, and the small key logic in Ice Palace is basically you need 1 if you have hookshot and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so easy to lose track of those items. I say that Ice Palace actually has some of the most complicated key logic when it comes to whether it's hookshot locked or not. But if you don't care about the hookshot, then you don't like the small key. Like in modes in Link to the Past where with key sanity, I guess, and there's key sanity in SM as well. Ice Palace small keys can be in GT even if it's a crystal. Okay, gonna check dig game.
And just missiles left in the Hera basement, so Maniacal not missing out too much on those.
Just missing out on that 1 boss token.
Yep.
And the single arrow at the dig game. Maniacal, remembering he has mids, knows he can go get out a little bit faster by picking up that rock. Looks like, yeah, this is going to be Smith Chain. So, I mean, with such an early Mitz mirror combination, it's just, really comfy to route this in right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I like this.
Not only that, but he doesn't really have a whole lot else left that's good. I mean, he's got Wreck Ship, but again, it's not perfect. You don't have speed. You don't have any great way to do the
I suppose you could argue
the upper ocean missiles.
Get to Hype Cave faster, but then you're orphaning this area that you've had access to.
And Hype Cave's only a little cluster of items. It's not quite as dense as some other things.
And here we go. This pays off. We got a Varia suit.
Yeah.
Now Varia suit might not even be required to see with Lower Norfair being a pendant. You still want to have it.
I would assume, I guess I'm not sure about this since it's never come up in a situation I've been in, but you should be required logically to have it.
I would, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer, but yeah, logically, but certainly not hard required.
Yeah.
But
I mean, sometimes it's not hard required for Lower Norfair either.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you have the E-tanks and you get E-tanks and Crystal Flash ammo and all that good stuff. Looks like Eykir is gonna at least dip his toe into Skullwoods. The thing I like about this play is that he's hoping if there's a hammer here to get it before he goes into Thieves Town. The thing I don't like about this play is that it's 2 items out of 8 because there's 3 small keys in the dungeon, and those 3 small keys, while they have logical implications, have 0 realistic practical applications. You don't need any of them because there are enough pot keys to cover everything you want. So, and you could just have all dungeon items at the front. Maniacal, meanwhile, finding a Master Sword, which is really nice. Yeah, he almost walked into that mirror portal and lost his purple chest. And now he can just leave it behind because, for whatever reason, the game thinks we still have it when we mirror in the next spot. But once, you still have to be on the screen with the...
Master Sword didn't last very long.
Yeah, like Master Sword, we hardly got to know you. So, yeah, really nice to have Tempered Sword already. Also, maybe a little, if Maniacal never gets those silvers, a little less of an issue because Master Sword Master Sword Silverless is significantly slower.
I love the realization. I'm very glad Maniacal caught himself. I've done it and seen people
I've
do
done
that quite a
it.
bit.
I want to say there
Where you
was
mirror to check the Bombos tablet instead.
there was
Um,
I think there was a race this weekend or
There's
maybe
one this week that happened.
yeah.
I
I want to say it's happened.
Yep.
So.
The most unfortunate I've seen is somebody mirroring. I'm not going to name names, but there's a pretty popular clip of them mirroring at the Bombos tablet instead, and then they realize they did the wrong thing and jump off the ledge and didn't check the Bombos tablet.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking about that just the
Yeah.
other day. Yeah.
But Maniacal catches himself, which is great. Didn't find anything particularly useful there, but that's fine.
Okay, Spazer, we hardly knew you. Get our plasma beam.
certainly much better, and especially for Maniacal with that X-ray. Now he's got plasma charge X-ray.
Yep.
That's
Microwave.
That's it makes Wreck Ship look even better. Fantoon is a very free fight with that loadout.
Yeah, and he's the one that has wave beam, which of course is not on our tracker, so that's full beam combo for him. So he's not going to go out his way for a single bit of ammo beyond what he already has.
Oh yeah.
Eykir taking a different approach, wants to check Graveyard Ledge. Let's see if there's anything useful here. Really wants to find that hammer before he goes into Thieves Town, but unfortunately, his hammer is just sitting in Thieves Town.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, he's gonna take it.
The supers.
Yeah, I mean, he just got your full beam combo, so the super's not nearly as valuable, but they're still supers, and they still make the Ridley fight pretty free.
Yeah, with Ice, I don't know. Like, he's got Zeb Skip available, so he doesn't need him for that. Maybe he just doesn't know how many supers he has, doesn't want to have to think about refilling them.
Yeah, I think that's probably more the case.
For Torian or for gate glitches and stuff, if those come up.
So Maniacal's now going to do Uncle, probably going to do front of escape as well.
Yep. Meanwhile, Eykir not finding anything of value at the Graveyard Ledge. So just kind of stretching out this Dark World loop just a little bit longer than Maniacal's.
Yeah, so basically tracing each other's footsteps. Eykir will no doubt go into Thieves Town after this. We'll find that hammer. Fortunately, the sword doesn't matter in this situation because the blind fight is the same no matter what. There's that Spazer beam from him.
There's a few enemies in rooms in Thieves Town that it helps with having a better sword,
Yep,
but on the boss fight itself, it doesn't matter. And there's certainly strats to get around it. Eykir should be plenty safe.
Yeah. So retracing each other's footsteps. So what do you think Maniacal in particular does next? I'm going to assume Eykir is going to probably follow in Maniacal's footsteps for a little bit here.
I think he has to go. Well, he has got to go back to SM. That's where everything is at this point. Now that he's got his can fly, that's tough to say. If he didn't do this this pyramid ledge and front of escape play to get those morph bombs, I would have said a wreck ship 100%. But with all that, that opens up Bubble Mountain area. I think that's probably not the option. I think Meridia, because you have logical access to get all the way through the sand pits, and you can do all of it, and there's a crystal there. So all the dense parts in the front are available logically, the required parts there. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
I mean, he's got logical access to the back because he's got those flippers to do from the back, and maybe that's what he does right now.
Probably what he's doing. I don't know why else he'd be coming to Dark World.
I mean, there's no good portal to get there. He could do what he could do here is run up to Catfish, do the Catfish check, and then take the Whirlpool over. But
I think Catfish is too far away just to do that one check. He probably leaves that until
to do it after
until Graveyard Ledge if that's available. Maybe pairs those together at a later time. But
yeah, he is. This is definitely backdoor Meridia. I know Maniacal is a fan of doing it from back to front. I personally like doing it front to back because he's not picking up any items
Right.
When
This
he's
is all
when
just
this is
lost
all just
time for
yeah, it's
movement.
just
You could get items
whereas
in the way.
if you go front to back, you pick up items. But on the other hand, this is the logical way to do it in this particular seed because ice clip to Batsu not in logic.
Oh, that's right. With access to the back, you don't need the can fly to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I think I like this from Maniacal just because of the fact that he doesn't have great movement. He doesn't have the space jump. He doesn't
Fair
have
enough.
speed. Doesn't have high jump. So like doing gravity jumps or bomb jumps from the front
Yeah.
is slow.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I think it's worth it in this case to eat that time loss right away, and then just do it back to front.
Yeah, and in fact, he's going to go ahead and kill Dragon. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, unfortunately, no, wait, he's got the full microwave combo, so
He
this is going to be a
does,
very
yes.
easy fight for
He's
him.
not turned on his plasma yet, but hopefully
Yeah,
he
I'm looking
remembers.
at, Ice Wave. I'm like, no, wait, he does have plasma. Just hopefully remembers to turn it on. Yeah, there it is. He's going to turn it on right
He'll
now.
have to menu again because he did it too early.
I know.
Or too late, depending
Yeah,
on
or
how you
something
think
like
about
that.
it.
I don't think I've ever quite seen the menu into the door like that.
Oh, I do that all the time. You realize, oh, I need a menu, and it's too late, and by the time it fades out, yeah, nothing happens.
Yeah, and the reason why you have to turn on plasma is we in this case it would have happened in this seed in particular as we picked up Spazer and plasma the same trip to Link to the Past. If those are both on at the same time, you can crash your game. No, we will crash the game.
Yep. Only if you fire a shot.
Yeah. So to prevent that, the game doesn't turn them on when you pick them up. If you pick them up in Link to the Past, you have to turn them on yourself. And there's that blackout that freaks me out every single time. Because when that thing that tells you what you got shows up, it turns black and it's like, and then everything's back to normal. So interestingly enough, we do have, we have access to plasma. We have access to all the front. We have access to Shackle, no grapple beam to put it in logic. Also, no high jump boots to make it easy to do with the grapple beam. So if you were to do it, you'd want to do it with ice beam anyway. I think the ice clip is actually easier than trying to do that check without high jump or space jump. Also, wouldn't be in logic without one of those items in normal mode.
Right.
So he can full clear Meridia, but not completely in logic.
I don't think he'll do Shack Tool, though.
No, I don't think so either. It's way too early to be making that play.
And as we were talking about what Maniacal would do, and he did follow through with what was expected, I think Eykir might be better off. It looks like he's doing the Smith chain too, which is good. He'll get his various suit. I think he might go to Upper Norfair. I think that would be a strong play for him, given what he knows about Maniacal, how he might be feeling about the race so far. I think that's something that just hitting item density first might make more sense, and there's a lot of stuff there. It's
Norfair's
you could lose a lot of time in Meridia, especially, and movement helps so much there.
Yeah, the dependence in SM
or getting to skip Meridia helps so much.
Be able to go mode at the end. This snail clip not in logic without speed booster, but you don't want to come back for it with speed, so you're gonna do it right now. Very nicely done first try. Heart piece and energy tank. We'll take the refill. We often joke about in SM only, where it's maybe not worth it to pick up the energy tank just for stand-up, which Maniacal would not have, because you're losing this. Get the 7-second fanfare. But in SMZ3, it's not a 7-second fanfare, so it makes a little more sense if you're thinking in terms of in terms of stand-up glitch. And you want that ability to do it, then picking up that E-tank makes more sense.
Oh yeah, and a good note pointed out in chat. The flippers are not in logic. Gotta keep remembering that.
Right, they're
flippers are speed locked. So access to Meridia from the back is not in logic. Only the items in the front.
Right, that's important.
Not that we found anything there, but for plasma, that might have implications.
and part of the implication there, as was pointed out, flippers could be in. Speed could be in GT. because swamp and ice are both pendants. GT can still have items for pendants, cannot have
Right.
items for crystals or boss tokens. Maybe we just call them tokens. I don't know. Oh. Okay, Eykir getting his sword combination. I assume he's quote unquote got the purple chest.
Yes. Yeah, it is technically a follower. Just a follower. The purple chest hasn't subscribed yet. Speaking of which, though, do follow these runners if you're enjoying what you're seeing. They're putting on a lot of great races all week.
So this is probably plasma. Could be Shack Tool, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know if I like this. I mean, Plasma's still really slow to get
It
to.
is.
And it really orphans Shack Tool, and hopefully Maniacal remembers that it's not in logic with anything that he's got. So you're doing a slow out of logic check and skipping the other slow out of logic check that's sort of next to it.
Yep.
Seems like an odd choice.
Yep. He can reset back to Aqueduct at least
Right.
if and when this is nothing.
Yeah. Which he could have as well from Shack Tool, but
Okay, I've known Eykir looks like he's gonna follow Maniacal straight over to that same Meridia
path.
play.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's the reset. So now he'll check the other sand pit and then probably leave. And he could loop around back to the front and do like the Mama Turtle check and the watering hole and the main street stuff.
Looks like Eykir actually not following the same path. Did he not do Catfish? I thought he had already done Catfish.
I think that was the other race,
Which
we also call. No, he hasn't done it yet.
Okay. All right, and he might take that whirlpool back to Meridia. He might opt to just save and quit from Catfish. We will have to see.
Okay, this is always an interesting check, and it's nothing.
All right, and he is backtracking, which suggests that he's going to be doing Meridia back to front as well. Yeah, so far, just overall, like the broad strokes here, Eykir being just more thorough in general, and it's really not paying out for him.
There's a bow. Okay, bow in watering hole. So we're going further down the logic rabbit hole. This is where normal logic can get really annoying because it's the speed booster to the flippers that's gonna put everything back into logic.
Although that bow is in logic because the morph bombs are logical.
Okay, right, because
he
can fly from Meridia. So those
so everything over
is,
here in,
right,
in
we're good
West
there.
Meridia is available. So we could have speed in back of Eastern or Pod, which we haven't seen Eastern yet.
No.
Both runners opted to leave after Sahasrara.
Yeah, and now that Maniacal can do a nice Pod Eastern combo. In fact, might do that relatively soon.
Oh my goodness! Look at all that lag on Eykir's side. He would have been better off just using a missile or super to get rid of those mock droids, but it looked like it made those wall jumps really difficult to do. When you're not used to the amount of lag for a particular trick, it's very different. And
Eykir without either X-ray or wave beam gonna have a slower fight here. He's got plenty of supers on Dragon are pretty good. He'll have a pretty strong charge shot too, so it's not so bad. But not as good as what Maniacal had with microwave beam.
Yeah, and this is and you can see with just some of these difficulty, some of the difficulty with these like wall jumps and these really awkward rooms. Kind of why I would have maybe expected or hoped to see Eykir do maybe not Meridia with this loadout, because with speed and space jump and high jump, this looks so much cleaner from everybody. I don't mean to pick on him in particular, but I think that might have been a better opportunity for him here.
Yep, there's another bottle. We don't care about bottles anymore. We've got a few of them. And Maniacal's done with Meridia for now, so I believe we only didn't see Shack Tool. So
we got a bow. It's worth something. Yeah, and I kind of expect Maniacal to take that bow and try to cash it in right away. I guess doing Ice Beam first. This is
pretty quick.
It's basically on path. It's not.
It's also not in logic. It's all behind the speed booster. But
as someone who used to try to wait on this till it was in logic.
Yeah.
If
I recall, yeah, you got burned multiple times.
I begrudgingly support this play.
Yeah, I know there were definitely times when I did and you didn't in a weekly race, and you.
Yeah. Nice ammo Dragon kill. That was pretty quick for just the ammo that Eykir used.
Eykir a little more incentivized to pick up extra supers. He doesn't have the full beam combo. I think that's with this beam combo and SMZ3 and no fanfare, I think that picking up extra supers is a good call.
Yeah.
If it was a 7-second fanfare, I would be exactly the opposite there.
And especially with being low on supers, he's only got 8. Well, now 13, but it did only have 8 at the end of the fight, so that might save him from having to farm somewhere. Even if you don't need the capacity increase, the extra supers are just good for now.
Okay, Maniacal going back into Link to the Past. I imagine he might just go back and do Moldworm right now.
Yep. Yeah, because there's an item there too.
Yeah, there's an item there, and he's got Tempered Sword.
We didn't realize that the first time, but Eykir showed us there's missiles. We'll see if Maniacal grabs those. I kind of think he will.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, it feels bad to double dip it and still not get the item.
Right.
Like, to go all the way back here and then still be missing something. It just has to. I feel like that might weigh on him.
But it's such a slow check. I could see either way. I'm not sure what I would do in this situation, honestly. It's easy for me to say, no, I wouldn't do it because I know what the item is, right? Whereas if I didn't know what the item is, my answer might be different. So I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I'm not sure what he's going to do. This is a good time to come back here because he now has the access to the east with that hammer.
Yeah, that's true.
And I fully expect him to do Dark Death Mountain, and in particular, we talked about the quote-unquote hover seed possibility of something good behind the hookshot in Hookshot Cave. Maniacal will hover that. I think that snail's a little bit too high. You want to, if you see the line there with the dots above and below, you want to be just slightly below that. That looks a lot better, but it looks like he's still a little bit too high. Yeah, just barely too high.
Actually, this is a nice place for X-ray scope. There are ways you can. It basically gives you extra positions that you can use to get up here by using X-ray scope to help you stand up.
Yep.
It's a relatively easy trick, but it's still pretty particular pixel-wise. But mechanically, it's simple. I'm not sure if Eykir's familiar with that or just didn't want to deal with picking up the X-ray that was a little out of the way.
Yeah, Maniacal's shaking his head knowing there's an item in Hera basement.
Yeah, and
begrudgingly goes back in. Yeah,
I think that makes sense. I mean, because if you go back, take your second trip in, you still don't get the item, and then you think, well, what if it's there in the basement? That's a third trip. That's so slow.
Yep.
And if it is in the basement and you went back and you double dipped it kind of makes the double dip feel better because it's like, well, maybe my opponent double dipped it too by not doing the basement the first time and then going back to clean it up later. So a lot more opportunity for it to neutral out.
Okay, you're going to try the snail clip again. Oh, the fast snail getting in the way a little bit. With bombs, you can actually, get rid of this second snail that's sitting there and bomb and get rid of him. You can do with power bombs too, but then you'll kill your friend snail, so to speak. Yeah, the snail's way too low now, so he's going to have to start over again. Looks like he's just going to give up on it. I don't believe there was anything there, so he's not going to lose anything out of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely makes sense. That that's a really good mentality to have, a good point to runner skill, that like you know when something's not working, you have to know when to give up on it. And I've certainly experienced this quite a lot with different tricks at different times. Even if you're super familiar with it and comfortable, sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yep.
Like you're trying to do like that clip right there, or like the Puyo clip, or like maybe CWJ, whatever it happens to be that you just can't get. And you're like, I know I'm better than this, but whatever, I give up. I got to move on.
Okay, supers on floating island. We're not going to see those. We're going to see Maniacal going to start with Spiral Cave and work his way around. Eykir going back to the snail clip. This is an out of logic situation where I just don't think this is worth. I mean, obviously we know it's nothing, so it's easy for us to say that. But you know, like you said, sometimes you just got to cut your losses. Oh gosh, that scared me for a second.
The turnaround.
Yeah, that turnaround. You could get stuck in there if you mess that up.
Yeah, but nicely done to get through. Yeah, if he had left it, I think it would maybe give it an opportunity to route it in potentially later with like plasma shack tool. Like there's other stuff in the area. It's not 100% orphaned.
It gives him, and
but getting it makes it even better.
Kind of like we talked about with the Shaft Super Scout. It feels less bad to go back to check 2 items than 1. You know, Waterway now completely orphaned for Eykir because he's done the Shaft Supers check. Fire Rod from Maniacal. Looks like Eykir also going to do Plasma. Yep.
Fire Rod gives us Back of Skull Woods, gives us still out of logic with no speed booster, but Ice Palace.
Yeah. We don't want to do Ice Palace.
No, but it's there.
It gives
an option.
It's an option.
And then TR is going to be required eventually as well.
So how do we do the always be clearing dungeons acronym when we add the crystal part? So now it's like always be clearing required dungeon, but ours not out in there alphabetically. But we are going to see Dark Death Mountain first. And we'll see the in-logic stuff first. We'll see the Super Bunny Cave items, and then we're going to see a little bit of hovering action. Space Jump's nice.
Okay.
My favorite item, so, So Lower Norfair completely in logic with that Space Jump, but we don't want to do it because it's pendant.
Yeah, it does get us access to the Mire area, though.
Yeah, and that
in the desert.
It could potentially be required simply for that desert Mire area access. Quake needed for Turtle Rock.
Do you remember what medallions we've seen so far? Have we seen any medallions?
I don't think we've seen any medallions. No, Maniacal. We'll see on his menu on the runner's menus at some point. Okay. Okay, so nice to have sword beams here because you can just kill that Bari right away. Unfortunately, you can't see it. I wish the cameras were such that you could actually see what he's doing there. It looks like he's just completely still. Does get the hover, very nice. Just 50 rupees from it.
That's the Quake medallion.
Oh my God, this could be a hover seed. We don't know where that hookshot is right now. We do need that Quake. Maniacal is not going to need the hookshot to get it. So really nice find from Maniacal getting that Quake medallion. Eykir picking up his bow. Maniacal could still, without the cane, you can't go into Turtle Rock. Really no point in opening it since you have to mirror to do it. So he's gonna. This could be Pot Eastern. Yeah, it looks like this is Pot Eastern.
Yep. Also, I think Maniacal maybe. This might distract anybody else, but sorry if it does. But I don't think he's quite as still as it looks on camera. I believe his camera froze.
Oh no.
It's might be able to. Get
no, I think before it was because you can see it now, but I think before it was just kind of being still there. But we'll get that fixed.
All right, so Eykir finishing up the last little bit. of Meridia.
Yeah, we've been told that he at the moment is very still. We can see him. We can see him being very still. Yeah, you can see him moving forward now. So yeah, we do have an unfrozen camera now.
Maniacal finally getting the green pendant information,
Yep.
Which I guess that's interesting. I didn't realize that he didn't know that, but yeah, with 2 SM bosses left, he knew it had to be either Fantoon or Ridley.
Yeah.
Just didn't know which one.
Yeah, and I think it's easier to just talk to Sarasala there than it is to menu. I'm now convinced that if you're gonna if you're an SMZ3, you check that when you get there. Whereas in Link to the Past, unless it's a Key Sandy mode, it rarely gives you. There's certain pending crystal layouts where it's actually kind of useful to check it, but most just aren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to do pod first. It doesn't really matter. We do pod first or Eastern first. We have everything we need for both dungeons. Pod maybe first because it's got more items. Eykir went ahead and blew up the tube. You actually don't have to. You can kind of sneak in. I think we saw Maniacal do the little, clip into the tube thing. So it saves a little time by not doing the blow up. And we're going to see another hover here. It's one of the more difficult hovers of the game. And he's also another one he's been working really, really hard on to get this. Because pixel perfect from where you start, and then you have to do a turn. He's just going to give up on it, it looks like.
Yeah, I think that one is tricky enough that that's a lot of runners, even ones that are very good at hovering like Maniacal. I've heard several people say that that's one they only try once. So if they don't get it, they bail on it. Just because it can be such a time sink if it just doesn't quite click.
And especially since all it does is save time, which is not insignificant, but in like Hookshot Cave, if he had failed Hookshot Cave, you're going to go back and do it because it's to your advantage that there might be an item, and as it turned out there might be an item that you need over there to pick up. Whereas here, it's just that little time save that you get, and you might end up losing more time to trying to force it than you would save time. Kind of a, so... So kind of a cut your losses kind of thing.
Yep. And we'll see Eykir. We'll see if he follows up right behind Maniacal after this. I don't think he... Oh, he took the save before Ice Beam. Okay. That makes sense. Doesn't have a lot of energy, using resources to get in there. It doesn't really take that much more time, or I don't know what the difference is exactly, like save versus just coming back the other way, but certainly not a significant difference.
Okay, Eykir also going to do a Death Mountain here. And, you talked about earlier Eykir maybe doing Norfair or something. At this point, Eykir is basically just trailing Maniacal. And while, Eykir has shown himself to be very good in Link to the Past this weekend, doing really well in the tournament, his overall execution, even in Link to the Past, I would say is Maniacal is a little bit better, and I'd say Maniacal is quite a bit better in SM. So if Eykir keeps following the same path, he's not going to have any chance to catch up, especially since he's already behind. So he needs to have some sort of route divergence. And so sometimes if you follow the obvious path, you can expect that your opponent did the same thing, and at this point needs to maybe make some sort of play to make something happen.
Yeah, there are a couple more overworld checks that Eykir has done to be more thorough that Maniacal could clean up. So there's a few things that he's got knowledge of, which is good for him if Maniacal does them.
Yep, absolutely.
The unfortunate thing, to your point there, Tracy, though, is that Eykir doesn't really have anything good to do that's not following this path right now.
Yeah,
like,
nothing. Yeah, he's got bad things to do, and maybe he has to do the bad thing.
I would say that finding the right time to do the bad thing is really important, because, the pod Eastern play after this Death Mountain is just so obvious.
Yeah, you got to do it anyway.
You have
to do it.
It'd be too big of a risk to gamble on something absurd right now.
Yeah, like the Norfair play, in particular because lower Norfair being a pendant, still could be required for something. Could be required for Meyer access.
Yeah, so I would like to see. I think the best play for Eykir here would probably be to follow suit, do pod, do Eastern, and then maybe do something a little bit more aggressive, depending on what opens up.
And Eykir is not going to get that Quake medallion until he gets a hook shot. Looks like he's not a hover at all. Even if he is one of those kind of 50-50, kind of sometimes it works hovers, in my opinion, if you're that kind of in-between hover, I would be more apt to try it if I'm playing a non-hoverer where it gives me the advantage. Whereas against a hoverer, I'm going to hope that my opponent spent the time to try and do that hover and got nothing out of it, and I'm saving time by not doing it. Now, of course, we know that's not the case. He's going to have to get that Quake medallion at some point. But that's kind of my mentality when I'm facing someone that I know can hover.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and an argument that comes up sometimes when that's discussed, that there's a lot of people that like that it's allowed because it means that other people that can do it get baited into doing it and wasting time for out of logic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I like that it's allowed, but I'm of the I don't care. I mean, you're not going to get me into one of those debates that should or shouldn't. If they always kept it allowed, I'd be fine. If they banned it tomorrow, I couldn't care less. So, yeah, I have no strong feelings. But, yeah, there's definitely a lot of people with very strong feelings about whether hovering should or should not be allowed. Okay, Eykir also getting his fire rod.
And he's got just Spike Cave. Is that all that's left up here?
I don't think he's done Spiral yet because he went into the Dark World
no,
first.
He did Spiral before Paradox.
Okay.
He did Dark World and then down
then
Spiral.
Mirror to Spiral up to Paradox.
Spike
gotcha.
Cave, unless I'm missing something. Yeah, there's his mirror portal.
Yeah, there. Yep. And then now, he can go to Spike Cave, and he's got. I want to say he's got a cape. Yeah, he's got cape.
And half magic is more than enough for sure there. Which we haven't seen on Maniacal. Again, Eykir doing being just a little more thorough on a few of these overworld checks. I mean, this could be the one that pays off, and this is another way to kind of go against that. Like you said, you follow the path. If your opponent's following the path and you're just behind them, you're never going to catch up. Sometimes just like grabbing these few little things that are just a little out of the way, but still kind of on the path is better than making a big decision to jump into Pendant Ice Palace or something like that. We just haven't seen it pay out yet.
Oh, wow.
We've seen it pay out now.
Pay out.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, going back to Hookshot Cave for the hookshot is really difficult.
Yeah. It probably feels good and bad at the same time. Eykir might feel like, boy, I wish I had done that before East F Mountain instead. Because he certainly could have. Now,
the good news for Eykir is he's now going to be able to get his Quake medallion.
And logically.
And he'll be able to do it. The bad news is going up to Turtle Rock without the Quake medallion for just the 3 checks at Hookshot Cave is not exactly something I'm rushing to do.
Yeah, I think this
so it's still a rough spot for him.
I really think now, even
need
more
something
than before,
in
Swamp Palace or Ice Palace even.
Yeah,
which has logical implications for that hook shot, and it makes it much easier.
Okay, there we go. We haven't seen progression on Maniacal side for a while. We get a Canis Maria there.
The other item that makes Ice Palace much easier. So if that comes up, Eykir's going to have that Canis Maria and a little bit here too after he finishes pod and does Eastern, or maybe does Eastern then pod. But yeah, something in Ice Palace or Swamp that we need here could be really big. But what else do we need other than Ice Rod?
We need Ice Rod and
maybe
Ice
something
Rod?
for Meyer.
Yeah, we don't know the Meyer medallion yet.
That's it.
God, and
we're really close to going.
Yeah, that Meyer medallion situation without a flute is kind of icky. Without a flute and with Lower Norfair being a pendant. Yeah. I mean, do you want to dive down to Lower Norfair to check out Misery Mire to find out you need to go find Bombos?
I think the problem with that, honestly, is that we don't have Speed Booster. Because the dive itself isn't that bad, but getting around Cathedral to Bubble Mountain and then down, that that almost
Yeah,
doubles the
it's
time
really
it
slow.
takes.
Yeah,
It's really only
slow.
about a minute and a half with like
Mm-hmm.
decent movement and a good loadout of equipment. Because I've timed that before one time comparing it to like an Aga Tower, um, and it's certainly faster than Aga Tower, but not by a lot. Because Aga Tower is also faster than people think. It feels really slow. If you get like 0 blue balls or something, it's not that bad. Because of course you always do that.
Okay, so I'm feeling wreck ship. We got a whole lot of items in wreck ship sitting there, just waiting to be picked up.
Yeah.
That maybe could give us a better answer than taking that trip over to Lower Norfair to get to Misery Mire. Actually, Skullwoods as well. We could do that.
Oh,
We
that's true. Yeah,
knock
let's
out
not
that
finish
Skullwoods play. I feel like Eykir might have. I don't even know if he got an item. He must have. I say must have because there's only 2 in the back, but there could be 2 items in the back. So, but you do have that Fire Rod, especially in Maniacal's case. He hasn't touched Skullwoods, so it's definitely 2 items for him.
Yeah, I actually, thinking about it now, really like this play to do Eastern Palace before pod, knowing that you're potentially just 2 items out of go mode. Eykir thinks, oh, well, there's 3 items in Eastern. There's some slim chance I don't have to do all of Eastern and all of pod.
Right.
If one's in the front of pod, one's in Eastern, I can skip all the back of pod.
Yeah, being able to skip the back of pod is much
It's a big
bigger
time save.
than being able to skip the big key chest in Eastern, which is the best you can do for a go mode in Eastern, and even that doesn't always pay out because big key just might be vanilla.
Yep.
And this key layout in particular for pod, since Maniacal was able to go to the back early, it is in the front. So Eykir could do the same thing. Go straight to Helma, and then come back for the back. Now we know he's going to do it because, when he's not going to get the items he's looking for.
Yep. Yeah, just the cane. That's one item they needed, but not the other ones.
Yeah, Eykir's best out at this point, again, is that hook shot leading to something. I would say more so. I mean, we talked about Ice Palace having logical implications with the hook shot, but Swamp Palace, hard gated hook, hard gated Swamp Palace item would really be good for Eykir because I don't know when Maniacal goes into Spike Cave.
Yeah, it might depend on whether or not Ice Rod shows up, whether or not Maniacal maybe does Turtle Rock into Spike Cave. That's certainly a possibility.
Yep, and for those of you that know something about Link to the Past Ice Rod hunts and don't know anything about SMZ3 Ice Rod hunts, take the Ice Rod hunt in Link to the Past and add 100 items, 100 locations. So it's much worse in SMZ3 than it is in Link to the Past only, because that Ice Rod can be just anywhere but GT, and on of course on Trinex in Turtle Rock. Okay, Maniacal doing this back to front. I like this in this scenario.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and he's potentially 1 item from go mode. So in his mind, again, we talked about he doesn't need that hook shot. He just knows he needs Ice Rod and maybe a medallion again.
Yep.
Same as Eykir, but having that Quake puts him even closer to go mode.
Yeah, that was an item. I'm not sure if Maniacal hasn't even checked the front yet, so he's going to go back in and get these other items. And just a small key there under the bridge. Yeah, Michael did check the middle chest because I really like when you check the middle first and then go to the back if that's your plan to go to the back, because highly unlikely that you're going to have 2 items in the back, as I said earlier, but not less unlikely that you're going to have an item here in the middle and then one in the back.
Yeah, it's nice checking the middle one first because it takes about as long as getting under the bridge. I think it's faster, but I'm not certain. But either way, it also just lets you check that one faster because when you check it from the left side, you can't just mirror from it. It's more difficult to deal with the Gibdos and try to get the statue in place if you have to push the statue. So it's really awkward. It's better just to assume you have to check it. And do
There's
it right
that.
away.
There's that second item.
Okay, and Eykir certainly got that earlier.
Yep,
So
absolutely. So he knows there's only one. So less to draw Eykir to Skull Woods. He might just do it anyway. Just because he has to do it anyway. But maybe he doesn't prioritize as much since for him it's one item instead of the two that was from Maniacal.
Yeah, and even if he does, he'll certainly grab that item and then just be done, and he'll just do the required part. It won't really be a time sink at all.
Yeah, Maniacal making sure that cape isn't relevant is going to route in Graveyard Ledge here. This is something that Eykir did earlier.
And probably goes to Catfish too, I think.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Which Eykir also did. So just kind of giving a little bit of that time back on the thorough overworld checks. I'm not sure what Maniacal's best play is here, whether it's Wreck Ship or Norfair, but it's got to be one of those things.
Yep, absolutely.
He's got to go back into SM at some point. I'm a little surprised he hasn't.
I would start with Wreck Ship.
Already.
I mean, if it's spooky missiles, for instance, or right supers or left supers, or one of those really early checks ends up being the Ice Rod, then you can just leave. And even though you might still be missing that medallion, you can leave right after Fantoon. You have to do Fantoon anyway. You can leave right after Fantoon with that Ice Rod and just go do Turtle Rock, and maybe worst case scenario, you then go back and do the check from Norfair. Whereas Norfair, you might do a whole bunch of stuff, not get anything, and have it, and maybe Eykir skips all of that. Yeah, here's that Catfish play you talked about.
Yeah, I think the only issue with that is that if you don't find anything in the bottom of Wreck Ship, you'd kind of have to clear the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's slow too.
Yeah, so it's not this is 100% the right play, but
no, I mean it never is, but
right.
yeah, it's
a
still.
little smarter.
I just feel like the Wreck Ship is a little less crappy because at some point you have to go kill Fantoon. That right there is hard required.
Yeah. The alternative though would be to maybe make a quick push to Desert Palace. Go maybe grab a few things on path in Upper Norfair.
Yep.
Go to Desert, check those really quick Mire area items and find out, do I need another medallion? Because getting that info early is really nice, which Maniacal's doing the Norfair play, and that's probably why.
And that's just fine, And if nothing else, the strong point to this play in particular is it tells you what the medallion is.
Yes, absolutely. If he has it, he just does Mire.
Yep.
If not, then that knowledge is really helpful.
And he can do Desert regardless. Maybe does. I wouldn't surprise me if he does the Bubble Mountain checks. Don't think we're going to see Croc right now.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And
Matt chooses not to do Bubble Mountain. I think that's fine too.
Yeah, we'll see how much he does in Lower Norfair too. If he decides to full clear that, or maybe push through the to the Lower Norfair escape, maybe skips Ridley. That's certainly an option you can do. I do know, speaking to Eykir after his previous race, to get to this point against Solski, one thing that he said that was a big factor was the Lower Norfair play, that it was a pendant, and Solski did it all, spent a lot of time, and Eykir was able to skip the whole thing, saved a bunch of time. So maybe he has that same mentality, or maybe wants to counterplay against that. But that could be a big difference here. I would not be surprised if that is the case.
So interesting, Maniacal taking the save here. That seems to indicate he might want to reset. This is definitely not a safety save, because he can just do. There's no reason to gate glitch here. He's got a super fast GT fight. You've got the item that's face jump locked, which you well know about from a previous race. Good to yeah, nice using, yeah, good.
It doesn't
it
actually
doesn't
work,
work.
though.
Doesn't
I
work.
saw him charge it up, and I was like, you should
Yeah.
know this, Maniacal.
Yeah,
Hold on. Yeah, you need blue suit, not a pseudo
pseudo
screw for
screw.
those for some reason.
I've never thought to try it.
I've tried it multiple
Doesn't
times,
work.
and after like the third time, it finally stuck, and I don't try it anymore.
Eykir having just done back of escape, I didn't realize he hadn't gotten those items yet. We know there's nothing there.
But yeah, a good point in chat. The minor portal saves for you, so
Yeah, so I don't understand the save.
the
there.
save is pretty odd. I would agree with that.
That's an yeah, we got a
You're
bomb
gonna pick it up.
Maniacal being super safe, using the spring ball to make sure that he doesn't
Yeah.
fall through. Whereas if you do a space jump, oh my God!
Wow.
Wow. So yeah, double medallions at GT. Now it's just gonna be
Okay.
Quake, right? I mean, it has to be Quake now.
That would be that's what we hope for.
That's I don't think. I mean, we this morning we had the 2 gloves and Croc for your race, and then now we have double medallions. Okay, that's that's quite interesting. So now we're just on an ice rod hunt,
Yep.
which nobody likes an ice rod hunt.
Yeah, and that's those placements really are not good for Eykir, giving him even less chance to come back. It is now down to pretty much because he's continued to lose a little bit of time here. Really, it's just got to be hookshot lock.
See, and it's quite look at
it's
the
Quake.
look on his face.
I think he might be frozen again, but
I don't know. If someone could clip that, that would be really awesome. It just gets better. It just gets better. But the nice thing about that flute is it gives them more options in terms of on the lower Norfair clear.
that's great
because
for Maniacal. Actually.
yeah, you find that flute, and now you're not locked into the, well, shoot, if I don't do lower Norfair now, when do I come back to it? Now you have a flute. You can do it anytime you want.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct play to come back and not do lower Norfair
Yeah,
right now
I
for
agree.
Maniacal.
We still have Wreck Ship outstanding. But that sequence of items, it's just that was just an absolutely crazy sequence of items. Now looks like he wants to do desert first. I like this. Desert is a little bit less go mode-y because of big key placement than Misery Mire. Misery Mire, you get Misery Mire, you could last location the big key, and then it's no different than just full clearing it. But on the other hand, if you have the God Mire, then you'll be very happy if you got the ice rod in desert. Not even boots locked. That compass on the torch.
And with the reset here on Eykir's side, looks like he's going to be going to Wreck Ship. I don't think there's anything else nearby for him to do. So we're going to get a bunch of new checks on his side as well.
Yeah, I mean this is a good choice on. We said, do you go to Norfair? Do you go to Wreck Ship? Those are two dense plays. When Eykir runs out of better things to do, though, I'd like to see him do Swamp, try and leverage that hook shot. Now we did see that the scout there just bombs. Yeah, no. Maniacal, I didn't see if there's going to be an item here or not, but, it has to do it, so we're going to just go ahead and do it. See if that, we'll see if the item's here. Yeah, he knows whether it's an item or not.
I think he just grabbed the big key and went to the back, so hasn't found any items yet in the dungeon.
Okay.
Just the compass on the torch.
Right.
It was not picked up.
But yeah, I mean, in pretty much if you can rush the boss, Desert is a dungeon where it not necessarily doing any faster to do the front first, back first. Go -1. You want to do this first. Okay, just the map.
Both items going to be on the right side. Small key is going to be in the big chest.
Okay, well, and chat making a good point. You know, we still don't have logical flippers, so that would be the one flaw in the idea of going to swamp. But you know, that hook shot, you know, the hook shot. I don't think Maniacal's not getting that hook shot anytime soon.
Yeah,
I don't see him going back to Spike Cave anytime soon. And the only way that hook shot is required is specifically Swamp Palace. It's like he forgot for a second where he needs to go look for that last item.
Well, he needs the small
the small key to do that,
thinking,
right?
right,
Small key is
the
the
right
big
side.
chest, going to the right side.
He knows both items.
Yeah,
on
I
the
forgot,
right
but
side.
small key too. So you know, I guess we're even. Yeah, that item is really interesting. That book, because that actually we keep saying Maniacal's not getting the hook shot, but now he might get that hook shot. Because you know, if you're gonna go do Ether Tablet, you're gonna do Spike Cave right afterwards, and he'll get that hook shot that way. Yeah, that is a funny, you know, book normal in a normal Link to the Past. Yeah, that book needed to get into desert, and now it's in desert, so it is kind of a funny book location. To answer chat, no, nobody died in Spike Cave. Eykir got his hookshot in Spike Cave. Maniacal got his Quake medallion by hovering, which was in Hookshot Cave. So, you know, Maniacal just hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's far enough out of the way at this point. Book might actually make it more likely to do it. Mm-hmm. Whether that's good or bad for Maniacal depends on where the ice rod is.
And of course, I mean, it is the ice rod, so he could just gamble on Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
So, so far, nothing in Wreck Ship.
Yeah, nothing so far. Some not very generous Fantoon patterns from Eykir. I think he got like 3 slows in a row, something like that. I know he got at least 2 slows in a row, which is not what you want to see. Those are unfortunately not seeded. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you view the topic, but they're not seeded like some of the Link to the Past rando boss RNG is. Of course, with the X-Ray, Maniacal will just have a 1-round Fantoon, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not free, but, you know, it's not too hard either. The difference with Fantoon, as opposed to the bot wound and the Dragon fights, is you have to use a missile to get Fantoon to open his eye in the first place, and then do the X-Ray strat. And so far, Wreck Ship not having anything. Certainly none of the bottom Wreck Ship has anything. I assume Eykir is going to stay here and finish this area. Potentially good for Eykir, because Maniacal, when he does this, isn't gonna, you know, he'll have to make that decision: do I go up or not? Yeah, still looking for that second item. It looks like, or are we still looking? We're still looking for the big key, which I think has. No, we are.
We have
the big key.
We have the big key item. How does this work out? He did not check the cutscene chest.
Okay.
So that's probably our item.
Well,
or
no, I don't think we have the big key, because you would check the. There's no reason you would skip the big chest if you had the big key here.
I guess I'm not sure. I was paying a little more attention to Eykir's Wreck Ship and what was going on there. Because I know we checked compass chest and then not cutscene. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay, now what the room I like to call the most annoying room in the game for Eykir, with these worker robots try and get this item.
Good heads up play using missiles instead of just regular shots. You can shoot them just a little bit faster, so it pushes the robots back, which just that
Yeah,
much faster.
there it is, Banal Big Key.
That's okay. That's an interesting mistake from Maniacal then, because, well, I guess maybe not a
No,
mistake.
I don't think it's a mistake.
He didn't get a
he's
small
just,
key. He got a map or compass.
Yeah, he's gambling that.
I still don't like that play, because if you got a map or compass in the other one, having already had some small keys, it's pretty likely that either the big key or an item that you want is in the cutscene chest. Kind of surprising to not go for that and gamble on it not being the thing. But he might have been overthinking it after an earlier seed having an unusual Meyer situation.
Yeah, blue cane. So that's both items out of Misery Mire. So no ice rod here.
And still not a whole lot of value here in Wreck Ship.
I mean, there's exactly one thing we're looking for. So there's not going to be a lot of value except in the one place it
still,
is. Yeah.
You know, fetch quests out
Yeah,
there.
I
There's
suppose.
speed booster. There's screw attack to make Lower Norfair much more inviting, which could be, you know, influence some decision making on Eykir's side in particular.
For sure.
Since, you know, he hasn't gone to Lower Norfair yet at all.
It's going to be interesting to see what Maniacal decides to do after this. I mean, he maybe just goes straight to Turtle Rock and banks on the Ice Rod being there. The problem is, like, there's almost no chance of saving a mirror portal in this situation because most of our outstanding checks are in SM, and you can't save a mirror portal through a game transition.
Right.
Yeah, and also, chat made a good point. Yeah, it doesn't have the hook shot to come back to the portal anyway.
Oh, that's
You
true.
need to have the hook shot to do that. But, not uncommon to do a quick ether tablet spike cave check. So maybe he does get the hook shot. We'll see. I'm going to do cape with dash strats. This is pretty fast. I still think it's faster to just swing, plus a little safer because you don't run out of magic. Plus, you can do extra damage to the big eyeball when he sticks his eye out. And so you can maybe shoot fewer arrows, but in the end, not a huge difference.
Yeah, so only one lightning phase there, so I think it ends up being pretty similar, potentially faster that way. But they're both definitely good ways to do it.
Okay, so we got nothing out of Wreck Ship.
Nothing out of Wreck Ship, nothing out of Meyer.
Yeah.
But the required bosses in each one.
Yeah, and Maniacal saving and quitting. I think he's resetting. So this is going to be Wreck Ship for him.
Okay.
So all
we
that
still
time. Like if he was going to do something like Lower Norfair, you would save and quit to the mountain. And he probably only activates that flute if he decides to go back to Lower Norfair. And X-ray is a thing.
X-ray is a thing?
X-ray is a thing that we haven't done yet. With that space jump, we can check it. Maniacal gonna get his silver arrows. That's nice.
Yeah.
Not what he's looking for. I know he
right
he
after
would.
Viddy.
Right after Viddy. He's gonna trade his. He would in a heartbeat he would trade those silver arrows for an ice rod. This is a big check for Eykir right now. It is just a piece of heart, so X-ray not the answer. It's funny to watch him do a moonfall with missiles. He just happened to be menued to him.
Yeah, he was getting ready to super that blue door, so he had to make sure to use the missiles first.
Yeah, there you go.
That is one of the hardest doors to remember with whether or not you've opened it.
For sure. So Maniacal going to scout this, see that it's nothing. Might make him a little more incentivized to skip the top of Wreck Ship, which would be good for him, because we know now that there's nothing here.
Yep.
Looks like Eykir going to head down to Lower Norfair. Maybe he'll check some of Upper Norfair first.
I kind of think he will. I think he's a little bit less invested in the Lower Norfair play and will probably be. as a result, I'm a little bit more inclined to do Upper Norfair, which even if Ice Rod is there, I think might be bad for him because he might just try to keep checking things for one of those medallions and sink some extra time doing that. I'm not really sure though. We'll have to find out. It's an interesting position to be in.
Right, and he still doesn't have that Quake medallion because he hasn't come back to Hookshot Cave. Completely
Oh,
forgot
so
about it.
he
Yeah,
can't-
thank you for reminding
Well,
us.
I
After.
mean, he will get the flute at least at some point here.
Yep.
So getting
If
back
he does,
to Meyer
if he does
won't
Lower
be that big
Norfair.
of a deal. I imagine if he does Upper Norfair and doesn't find directly a medallion,
well, this
he's
goes
gonna do Lower Norfair,
this goes
right?
back to something I said earlier. With or without an Ice Rod, if you're missing the medallion for Turtle Rock, and your only thing to do on Death Mountain is Hookshot Cave, which is right near Turtle Rock. You don't want to go up there without the medallion.
Right.
That could be a hard last location. When you got so many other locations, he's got all of Upper Norfair, he's got all of Lower Norfair, he's got Meyer Desert, which he could do.
Not Meyer. No, the Quake.
No, right. No, he can't do. No,
Can't
he
do
can't do
Meyer
Meyer.
without the
You're
Quake,
right.
yeah.
You can't do Meyer because it's Quake.
So there's that at least. It'll be a go mode Meyer.
Yeah.
If that is how this unfolds.
Not a great go mode Meyer because cutscene big key without the small key to indicate it is one of the worst locations.
Yeah.
So, and this is still turning very much into a hover seed. It was funny because we were talking about hover seeds, and I'm like, well, no, wait, forget everything I just said because fast cannon. And then, it turned on its head where it actually turned out that this is definitely looking like, I mean, it's not a complete hover seed in the sense that if you do Spike Cave before you do East Death Mountain and Dark Death Mountain, then Eykir's fine. But it's the route usually is you do that Spike Cave check last, especially the way he ended up doing having finished Tower Hera, because one thing you could do is do Tower Hera into Spike Cave and then with the hookshot go do the rest of East Death Mountain off a save and quit.
Yeah, and with the hammer being so late, there wasn't a whole lot of time to do Spike Cave before the runners did East Death Mountain.
Right.
Grapple beam is interesting.
Ugh.
That's something
that's
I don't think that they wanted to see.
No,
but
and we do have space jump to get into Shack Tool, so that is completely in logic now. Okay, Maniacal going to check the E-Tank location, then we'll see if he stays and does the upper. I know I've seen Maniacal skip top of wreck ship before in SMZ3, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's his choice now. Interesting he took the E-Tank.
Yeah, his health was full.
I know, there's really no reason for that E-Tank, but,
nine tanks and a reserve.
I know.
Not quite feeling safe enough yet, I guess.
I guess not. Maybe they have a side bet on who gets the most E-Tanks.
Eykir's not doing so hot in that category then.
I know, right?
He only got 6.
Speed
okay.
booster. That puts all the flipper stuff in logic.
Yep, it does. It puts all the flipper stuff in logic and opens up the waterway.
Yep. So, I mean, not quite what you want to find. For Eykir, it opens up Crocomire. Even with, because actually it opens up Crocomire. Crocomire was not in logic because that wave beam was behind flippers, which is behind Speed Booster. So now that makes Crocomire a logical check rather than just a check. Looks like Eykir is going to do the what I like to call the Remembered Highway, the new route method of getting to Lower Norfair. So he's headed down to Lower Norfair. He's going to get the bad news. He needs that Quake medallion. He's going to get, for him, this is, we saw Maniacal just laughing it off. It's going to be a little different situation, right? He's going to get 2 medallions down there and be like, oh yeah, I've got now a 2/3 chance. Yep. He's going to go see the needed medallion. It's going to be Quake, and he's not going to be as happy about it anymore.
Yeah, I was just going to point out, I love seeing when there's some kind of sync that's something minor. We see so both runners kind of struggling with their item menus. Eykir picking up grapple and then mismenuing a little bit, struggling. Then like a few seconds later, Maniacal with the same issues here in Attic. It's always fun to see. Sometimes your hands don't work or you're missing you know, a particular type of ammo, or you have something new you haven't. Oh, I can't just item select off of supers or power bombs anymore.
Yeah. Also of note, Maniacal is full clearing wreck ship, doing it pretty quickly, but still, you know, still you have the bowling cutscene and all that stuff. So still quite a bit of wreck ship left to do. Runs right into 10 arrows.
Almost forgot he scouted that item.
Yep.
Thought about opening it up.
It's almost it's a shame for Eykir that he knows the Turtle Rock is Quake. If he didn't, then he'd be incentivized to go up there, see that it's Quake, and then he could do Hookshot Cave. So, you know, normally the scout is a good thing. Like, you know, you want to know what that medallion is. And in this case, the scout actually is hurting him. And he's going to see that bombos. He's going to have a pretty quick GT kill because, you know, with charge, he still has, you know, he has charge, ice, plasma. So this will be a very quick kill. Sees that ether. We're not seeing much of a reaction from him, but we'll see what his reaction when he sees it is Quake. The funny moment for Maniacal is kind of a sad moment for Eykir here. And then Maniacal is going to be back to decision time in terms of where to go next. I imagine Maniacal maybe just goes to Lower North. He has that flute, can go back there. And then it's pretty clean routing to route through Lower Norfair and then get back to Bubble Mountain and then into Croc. Because, you know, by the time he gets done with Bubble Mountain, Croc will be in logic for him too. Maniacal has now full cleared wreck ship, and we'll see what his decision is, what to do next.
Yep, Eykir on a much more straightforward path at the moment, at least. Scouting the mire, like we talked about, and Desert, he'll get that clear done.
Yeah, you can see there's a bit of a, you know, bit of a head nod there. Like, of course, it's the one I don't have.
Yeah.
I will at least get to full clear Desert.
Yeah, and honestly, even worse than that, Eykir might be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing this Lower Norfair dive, and I found these medallions. My opponent doesn't have to find them. He'd probably never do this Lower Norfair play at all.
Yep.
Or might not do it at all.
Well, I mean, you have to, hard required to get there in the first place. You have to go to Lower Norfolk because of where that flute is. So you can't even, so you're going to run into those, but...
Right. That's true. Unless you do the gate glitch and just don't ever look at GT.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I guess.
In a lot of situations, it is a time save. In this situation, it's not a time save because GT is just so fast with the beam combos these runners have. And of course, Eykir, you know, Maniacal did a Gina's Cave way early. Eykir hadn't done it, so this is the time to do it if you don't do it early. Always love the hour 54-minute Sphere 1 checks, you know. Although Gina is the one that's the most common, right? Because it's, you know, no one wants to. Well, I say no one wants to do it early, but it's pretty common to not do that one early.
Yeah, especially bootless. It's a very long walk.
Mm-hmm. Bootless and fluteless. So Maniacal is just beelining it. So this is going to be, I think this is going to be upper before lower.
I think so too.
Because I think if you were going to do if you're going to do lower, I think you just go activate your flute and just take it to Lower Norfair. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Croc before Lower Norfair at this point because he's going to get that speed booster, which if he's not been keeping track of the logic, he might just do it anyway. And if he has been keeping track of the logic, the speed booster will put it all back together for him. And Maniacal is pretty good at keeping track of logic. I mean, he's the one that will be able to, you know, because we talk about different spheres of items. Most of us just basically keep track of Sphere 1, maybe Sphere 2. Maniacal will rattle off, you know, and maybe he's just making it up and we just don't know. But he'll rattle off all the different spheres. Never mind, this is Turtle Rock. This might be Ether Spike Cave.
Yeah, he was indecisive a little bit there. maybe just fell down too far and missed the platform, or was trying to decide where he wanted to go, or
Yeah, I think because he wanted to check X-ray, I want to say this is a little bit faster to do it this way, to do the Norfair portal instead of the not doing Ether tablet, is doing Spike. He's
Just
going to get
spiking.
that hook shot. Yeah, so he, because of that, yeah, I had a thought in mind, and I lost it.
because where it puts you out outside of the Norfair portal, I think.
Yeah,
But
there's
yeah,
a hook shot.
I'm kind of surprised. I guess he's okay. He's getting the spin speed to come out
Okay,
and
okay.
then do.
Yeah,
Ether
this is,
tablet
you don't see
afterwards.
this very often. You see this in cross keys all the time. You don't see this in regular Link to the Past or SMZ3, where you leave. So he is going to check the Ether tablet.
Gotta be safe on those stairs. He's
Also,
kinda
I'm going to point out, unfortunately, the camera's not picking it up, but he uses, I had forgotten this. He uses 2 different controllers, whether he's in SM or in Link to the Past. Because, Link to the Past, if you're a hover in particular, really hard on your buttons. SM hard on your buttons in different ways. So, having a comfortable controller for both games is really nice. And you don't want to wreck your controller for SM by hovering from Link to the Past.
Yeah, we'll see where Maniacal goes with that hook
Okay.
shot.
He's, I think he's activating the flute. Another interesting choice here. It's a nice route, so of course it can be on ped. Could check ped at this point, because he's got that book.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's a long way to go just for that little scout. But
Yeah, I don't think, Maniacal doesn't have his flippers in logic yet, so probably not worth doing. But, that hook shot, kind of conspicuous. Oh, of course, never mind. Hook shot led to Quake,
hook
so,
shot's the Quake.
it's already
Maniacal's
led to
already
something.
following, that logic chain and knows
Yep.
that has been.
No, he's doing it. He's doing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a very safe play. If it's the thing you need, it saves you a ton of time checking everything else in the world first. If it's not, it's just a, 30-second time loss or so.
And you're already activating the flute. So I figure, if this is the ice rod, then obviously you're just in go mode. Nah, just a piece of heart. If not, he's already gone to that flute. I think this is going to be into Lower Norfair. And we're going to see both runners in Lower Norfair at the same time.
I think so.
Because Eykir is going to do it. Is already doing it right now. So interesting part about Ridley being a pendant here. You could choose to just skip the Ridley check. You could do everything else.
Yeah, I think so. In Eykir's case, he doesn't have any progress that's unsaved anywhere. So it would be really smart for him potentially to do the Norfair escape first, and then turn around at the Franker Z item if he hasn't found anything, and then go down to Ridley from there. Could always just choose to reset if he gets nothing at Ridley.
And he's already done all the Bubble Mountain stuff, so there's no incentive. There's no bonus
incentive to continue on from there to
beyond
leave. It maybe gets you a little closer to Croc, but still,
but that's not. You can go into Link to the Past, save and quit. Yeah, getting to Croc is very
easy.
easy.
Booster now. That's no longer an issue. So I think that'd be a really smart play for Eykir here. We'll see if he opts to do that.
Maniacal.
And even the save scum on Ridley might not be necessary because it's green pendant, so you might want to just do it anyway.
Yeah, get that green pendant.
But getting the dense part of the Lower Norfair, which is the escape items, getting all 4 of those really quickly together would be really nice.
Whereas Maniacal, having not done Bubble Mountain, he could totally do the same save scum. But for Maniacal, what would happen is he would take the save, go all the way through Bubble Mountain, and then he could reset. The problem for Maniacal is if he tries to do that, he's going to get that speed booster. Also, he could just get it again, I suppose. Because you still have to leave. This isn't like a Link to the Past where you save and quit, and in this case we have if he resets back to it, he gets back to that save point, and he would know where that speed booster is. He just go pick it up.
Yeah, or he might have to just take the speed booster and keep going on the path
Yeah.
with it and follow
And
that
then,
logic chain.
if it's Ridley, then
And
Ridley slash
or
Green
whatever.
Pendant.
I'll fluke back later. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not so sure.
All right, so looks like I'm hearing that the other race may be over. So those of you in chat, please don't spoil the race, because some people may want to watch it back later. We're on an ice rod hunt. Maniacal a little bit ahead here. They're both going into Lower Norfair. Eykir, unfortunately, doesn't have the Quake medallion, which is the medallion for both Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. This is essentially a hover seed in the sense that Hookshot was in, and you saw Maniacal did take that save. Because Hookshot Cave did have the Quake medallion, which Maniacal got from hovering. Eykir, you'll notice both of them have the hookshot. The hookshot was in Spike Cave, but unfortunately, Eykir did that after he got that area scouted. So now, the problem for Eykir, even if he finds Ice Rod first, is it's really a tough sell to go up to the Turtle Rock area just for the 3 checks at Hookshot Cave. When you would potentially, if it's not there, you're doing another mountain climb to potentially not be able to do Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
And Eykir is just going to go bet on Ridley right now, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah, I'm unsure if this is because it's the green pendant, so he thinks I just gonna want to get it. Then this is, if I'm gonna have to full clear Lower Norfair, this is gonna be the fastest way to do it. I'm not sure if that's his thinking or if it's just that he's trying to make a play. He's thinking, okay, Maniacal's not doing this.
Yep. Yeah, and we were talking about, Maniacal did take that save, so like Maniacal can do everything here. He can even get that speed booster, even do Croc, and he can still reset to that portal if he wants to go back to Ridley, and he still has to leave if it is Ridley. No matter whether he gets something or not, he still has to leave. So, the speed booster that he's finding, you can see the look on his face, not happy about that speed booster. But he can still do that reset, go back to Ridley if he wants, until he does the transition to Link to the Past. He can still take that save back to that spot if he wants to do Ridley and get that green pendant.
Yeah, I mean, he honestly could go all the way to Waterway and Shaft Supers and reset.
That's a really good point. You could do everything, and then if he still doesn't find the item. That means you're not using portals to do that. But as long as he doesn't go into Link to the Past, he still has that save scum. And no Ice Rod behind Ridley. And if the interesting part here is if the answer is Turtle Rock, I imagine both runners are going to full clear everything in SM first, looking for that Ice Rod. And if the answer is Turtle Rock, Eykir still without that Quake medallion, still going to be at a disadvantage because I imagine the biggest reason to do these checks is, you do these SM checks. You don't want to, deal with that mirror portal. Now, of course, Swamp would also kill your mirror portal in Turtle Rock too. So, but you do still have Ice Palace that wouldn't if you want to do it. All that stuff now in Logic, that speed booster, having blocked the flippers early on over at early supers. I definitely think Maniacal more likely to go up to Turtle Rock and look for the Ice Rod there that Eykir is, because Eykir, not having that Quake medallion, wants to find the Quake medallion to get into Turtle Rock in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Maniacal go. Let's see, is this going to be Croc?
And I wanted to point out real quick, Maniacal did skip out on that grapple beam. He saw it and just turned around.
He knows he can get.
He's aware of the logic.
Yeah,
I mean,
he can get into Shaktul just fine without it. Maybe he's not. Yeah, I mean, this tells me that he knows Shaktul's in Logic. He knows how to ice clip to it. So if he's going to check it, he doesn't need that grapple beam, and he's already, if he's planning on resetting at some point, you'd have to then add Shaktul to the list of things you need to do before you reset. Just gonna add time.
Yeah.
Of course, we get to have the fun croc fight where we take one shot, and Maniacal doing the swag fun moonwalk that just looks cool. Doesn't do anything actually to anything. Oh, wow.
Okay. There's that ice rod.
Yeah, there's that ice rod. That's go mode for Maniacal. That's really bad for Eykir. He's gonna find it, but he's got that Quake medallion. He's just, in so much trouble with that Quake medallion. And even if he goes straight to Turtle Rock and goes hookshot, gets the Quake medallion, he still has to go back to Misery Mire to clear it. So this is huge advantage Maniacal. At this point, he'd have to make a really large mistake to lose this. But Eykir is staying with him for a long time. When it comes down to an ice rod hand, you pretty much always have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Eykir doing a nice job with that gate glitch. This is still in logic for Eykir. The wave beam is sitting under the bridge in Lake Hylia. But since he can get to this with the speed booster, the intended way, and I say, if you do a casual run, you're going to come from the other side. You only need speed booster to actually put this in logic. Remember what I said about wave beam earlier? You get wave beam, go to Crocomire. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, you wave beam, go to Crocomire. But we didn't. It took us so long to make that wave beam logical.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Maniacal for not following that. I wouldn't have done it either. Well, I might have. Maniacal is much better at keeping track of those things than I am. I might have forgotten that wave beam was still out of logic and might have done it anyway, which is kind of funny because that would have gotten me an ice rod a lot sooner than he got it. But yeah, if I had been following the logic as a player, I think he made all the right calls. But sometimes it's normal mode. Normal mode has weird convoluted logic sometimes.
It really does. It's I feel like hard logic tends to have more trolley seeds, but the ones in normal that are trolley are way more trolley.
Yeah, like the hard mode trolley seeds are the ones that make you do the dumb hard mode stuff that I still need to get total to get create a mode that takes away some of the dumb, like the bootless, suitlesses, the stutter threes, some of the more annoying. I personally enjoy doing some suitless Meridia. I don't like doing soulless sandpits, and don't and bootless suitless can go rotten rotten hell for all I'm concerned, But some of these other but whereas the trolley normal mode seeds are ones like the one you played earlier today, or the ones like this one, and of course this one's less fun. Like sometimes you get some of those weird normal trolley seeds where, like, as trolly as it is, you just go back and the logic is just so convoluted that you just have to laugh, and it's a great story. But this one was an ice rod hunt, and ice rod hunts are never fun. There's no such thing as a fun ice rod hunt. The only go mode item worse than ice rod is boots, and that's because you don't have boots to look for your boots. So Maniacal going to have a go mode Turtle Rock, which unfortunately not much better than a not go mode Turtle Rock. The best we can do is steal the small key and not have to, and I know Maniacal will take that less than 5% chance every single time to steal that small key, and the only way that gets you is if your small keys are exactly in lava chest and big chest.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm not shocked that he goes by the math.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, Maniacal, very mathematically inclined.
Yeah, and this Turtle Rock be his last dungeon. There obviously was an option for Maniacal to have done Ganon already if he wanted to.
Yep, could have.
Really, no reason.
Yeah,
you might find the gold sword here, so.
Yeah, gold sword. Yeah, actually, that's actually a really good point.
That's
gold
like the one thing that might speed up his Ganon if he makes a mistake and misses the 1-in-1.
I was about to say, I always say, the gold sword doesn't make your Ganon fight faster. It makes it freer. It makes the 1-on-1 a lot freer.
It makes it faster on average for the few times that you do make mistakes.
Yeah, and for those of us that don't regularly get 1-on-1s, it makes it faster.
Or even for someone like Maniacal who's great at this game, he's going to mess it up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not very often.
Mm-hmm. Everybody messes it up sometimes.
He's going to mess it up sometimes, just whiff on who knows what. And it's nice to have that cushion.
Mm-hmm. Nice fairy drop. I don't think we didn't ever found powder, so he's not going to be able to powder those anti-fairies. And you know, the Turtle Rock, one of the places where super nice to have that at the end of the dungeon. But you know, you do that fairy drop, gets him up to 12, which is what would have happened if he'd done a powder on him.
All right, he's
going. Okay.
He's going for this big chest for some reason.
You know.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a defensive play. You know,
I guess. But
it seems really odd.
It really does.
Yeah, I can't recall though. I don't recall ever seeing him not steal the key.
Well, he did steal the key, but then he still opened the big chest.
Yeah,
in case.
right. Or yeah, good point. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've never seen him not take the risk there. And of course, it was 50 rupees. We get an extra reserve tank.
All the things are definitely essential.
Mm-hmm. One of the things, interesting when I first started playing Link to the Past, for a while I was doing Turtle Rock the way Maniacal's doing it right now, because I thought maybe it gave me a better chance of being able to skip Laser Bridge. Turns out I didn't get a whole lot of extra skips of Laser Bridge, so I said, you know what, I'll take the chances. And Eykir going to follow that grapple beam to Shack Tool, which I think is is again trying to go to the spot that your opponent didn't go.
Yeah, it's really smart. It's a good play. It makes a lot of sense. Just is not gonna pay out. I mean, maybe pays out with like high jump boots, but
yeah, I mean, there's some
nice
things you can have, but yeah.
I think that's the last one that we haven't seen on the restream here from either runner.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we've seen everything else.
I guess powder or shovel is somewhere. I think.
Yeah,
but, not that those are nice items, but they're interesting.
They are interesting. Kind of less interesting this late in the game. At this point, even the powder's not going to do anything for you since we don't need to climb GT.
Nice quick Trinex fight there by Maniacal. Gets his final SM boss done. And, at the same time, Eykir is going back up Death Mountain, so he'll probably grab the Ether Tablet, of course, and then maybe go over to Hookshot Cave and finally get that go mode.
Yeah, you're not doing this unless you're going to check both the Ether Tablet and the Quake, and the rest of Hookshot Cave. So, that book might have helped him get back up there.
I mean, I don't know. The only thing he's got left are Swamp and Ice.
Which are awful. Well, and Waterway.
Yeah.
Also awful.
Also awful.
Especially since he scouted Shaft Super, so it becomes just one item. And Maniacal, knowing that the fastest place to flute to go to Ganon is Pod. So, or not Pod, but Flute 5. Which is near Pod, right?
Yeah. Basically the Pod entry portal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, that book might have helped Eykir out. But yeah, like you said, it's just, those spots are awful. I honestly think that if it were me, I would have hit Swamp Palace.
Yeah.
I would have been wrong, but I would have wanted to. I would have been like, well, he would have hovered that anyway. If that's the answer, I know he has it. My best out is that he never went to Spike Cave and did get the hook shot, and the hook shot is hard required. And fortunately for Eykir, he didn't follow that advice, but still going to be way behind.
Yeah, and we see a little bit of a pause before he fell off that ledge there. Like, do I need this last chest? Is probably the thought process there. I probably would have checked that last chest for high jump boots just in case they were there, but they're not there, and not that big of a difference maker anyway at this point in the seed with, you know, everything done in SM except
It
for...
just things feel better, especially with speed booster and high jump.
Yeah, it'd be helpful for Torian, helpful for the Mother Brain fight.
Yeah, there's some spots in the escape that are really awful with that high jump boost.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Eykir does baby skip or not, but makes that much more possible.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it is doable with that high jump boots. Shout outs to Simo if you're out there somewhere. Most people won't even begin to try it, and even if you can do it, it doesn't really save time. I think originally it was like a once. It was like once. It used to be like 1 second. I don't know where you know Simo's at with it, doing it without high jump.
I think the new clockwise skip saves a few more seconds.
Oh yeah,
there's a way to do that without. Oh, nice. Without high jump as well.
That's so brand new.
Looks even more absurd.
Yeah, not.
But that's one of the final bosses down. Maniacal still does have to get through and through Torian. Tongue twister.
All right, we're gonna head over towards Turian. Maniacal not refilling because he's got full beam combo. I mean, even without refilling, he almost has enough to do the fights. Yeah. He doesn't. This would be really. This is not enough, to be clear. Now he has enough if he did refill. Although if he hadn't found the charge beam, he would have been picking up more ammo, and we definitely were skipping supers. So, so the insane ammo loadouts that you get in SMZ3. But yeah, since he's got full beam combo, there's absolutely no reason to take that refill. Now looking through Metroids 1. And now through Metroids 2. Eykir, meanwhile, making his way through Turok on only 2.5 hearts. He's going to have to be a little careful here.
He had no powder here. This was where you'd want to use it.
Yeah, this is where you really want that powder. Yeah, careful. Yeah, and of course, this is where those 10E tanks kind of not so great because you know we're not doing baby skip. You know, Maniacal gonna have trouble damaging himself down quick. Should be able to do quite a bit of damage with the, you could use screw attack because you just when you unspin you don't have those iframes. But still, you've got 10 tanks. And he ends up with 105 missiles after the Metroid rooms. Not quite full supers, but
yeah, a few less supers than he went in with. But I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens if you
when you have ammo like this. And not even going to choose to do the Zeb skip at this point.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
shoot him
this is he's going to do it for the spring ball Zeb skip, which is a really nice one. Does it first try perfectly.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually a lot of people consider that the easiest one to do.
Yep, it's pretty,
I certainly do.
Certainly a nice strat.
It's sometimes the rink is really getting your way. The other ones that aren't the one that you freeze. Post screw attack, you don't really have to worry about that.
So Eykir gonna get Trinex down about the same time. The Maniacal getting into the cutscene of Mother Brain here.
For some reason, Maniacal playing it really safe, bombing that meatball so it didn't hurt him, because, you know, that's like a that's a safety strat for, like, you know, low ice runners sometimes to make sure they don't get hit. But with, you know, 10 E-tanks, Maniacal really didn't need to.
Yep. We do have, he was trying, I mean, on the other hand, he was trying to make sure that he still had kept his health at stand-up, but still,
Yeah, I mean,
he was still
had 3 extra tanks.
He had 3 extra tanks. He was still, you know, really didn't need to do that. Maybe that's why he picked up that 1 extra tank that when he was almost at full health.
Yeah,
I think it was the one in wreck ship, just to make sure they'd have that extra health for that.
Yep. Oh, and Eykir just now activating his flute. Hasn't needed to go back to buyer area or really anywhere with the flute yet, so that kind of makes sense. I just forgot he hadn't done it yet.
Right, because I was like, you know, of course he wants to activate the flute because he has to go finish Misery Mire.
Yeah, and for him that's his last dungeon, so he'll get to Misery Mire, be in there as Maniacal finishes this up. Very nice stand up.
Oh, that was a funny looking Samus there at the end. That scared me for a second.
It kind of got locked in the facing the wrong way, it looked like.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
In SMZ3, because of the autosaves, really it would be a feels bad moment, but it wouldn't have been enough for Eykir to make a comeback here. Still having to do Mire, still having to do Ganon.
Right. Since the last save would have been after the Ganon fight on Maniacal's side.
And in the end, with all of that, with that Ice Rod hunt, you know, this is going to be a really good time for him now. He's got a sub 230 it.
Yeah. Yeah. Really the big saving grace, I guess, is not only the no GT with these fast Ganon settings, kind of saves a little bit of time there, and then no Swamp or Ice Palace. There just was no reason whatsoever.
It took
for
so
Maniacal especially to
backtracking to get those in logic took so long.
Yeah, and I think just for Maniacal as well, like he was late to the hook shot, so that's important in Swamp and logically.
Yeah, for him, he doesn't want it to be
even
Swamp.
less reason.
All right, and we're finishing 224.01. GG's to Maniacal. All right, we're going to give the runners a chance to take a little break here, and then we'll come right back for the interview. So please stay tuned, everyone. Yeah, I'm actually in here. Okay.
You're on the edge.
Yeah, I'm on the edge. Let's just scoot over a little bit so it can get me in here. But yeah, we want to really focus on the runners here. If we put on a great show. Came down for Maniacal. Came down to an ice rod hunt. Eykir missing Quake.
Yeah.
Fun fact. When we saw the swamp was a pendant, I said advantage Maniacal because he doesn't have to worry about getting the hook shot for GT. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is fast cannon. This is not going to be a hover seat. This is fine. Eykir's fine. No worries about the hook shot. And then it turned out to be a hover seat anyway because you were able to get that Quake out of hookshot cave. Yeah, and Eykir had got the hookshot right afterwards.
Yeah,
and, you think about it, it feels bad, but you don't want to go all the way back to hookshot cave at that point. We got so many items open to you. So,
comically, when I got the hookshot, I actually had to leave Spike Cave because I'd forgotten to check Ether tab, and I really didn't want to leave my ice rod there. Mm-hmm. And so I ran back out and did the really inefficient thing. But other than that, I was pretty happy with the plays I made, the route I chose, and like the decisions I made pretty much throughout the race. Everything didn't work out, but I felt solid about just about everything and didn't feel like I really got punished anywhere.
Yeah, so a few things. So Tower of Hera. Let's go all the way back to Tower.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking about it now. I will not. Yeah, well, Ezra liked it in chat. We were kind of. I was kind of lukewarm on it.
No
Let's talk about Tower of Hera.
So I went up Tower of Hera and I got center hold, and I was able to save and quit out. Because you're doing 2 floor climbs and a fighter sword bootless mold arm fight, which is kind of miserable anyway, and it's usually not particularly fast. And there's like a 40% chance that I get center hold again, right? Like I felt a mold arm 4 times earlier in a race.
I felt him twice earlier in one of my races.
Yeah, so like it happens, and I said it's better to cut my losses here, not do the slow fighter sword fight, like bake the time save in with coming back with a better loadout, potentially with hookshot, and then get the items. It's possible I might even be able to skip basement because I'm coin flipping whether there's an item in basement. And I knew I had a bunch of stuff on the mountain left because I was really just doing Hera. I wasn't getting any of East Mountain, and like there's no way I'm skipping East Mountain this seed, right? I'm not hitting go mode before doing Paradox and hookshot and all that. So it's just so unlikely that I'm going to actually be able to put it off long enough that I would, hate that I hadn't done Hera. Like, I'm going to have to do Turtle Rock at some point anyway. It's not that hard to kind of splice it in. And so unless I'm leaving the one critical item in Hera at that moment, it's not so bad.
Yeah. That sounds reasonable. And then at the end of the seed, what we really liked was you took that save near Ridley, and we were at the time even saying he can take this all the way out to the speed checks in Brinstar, and even then you're gonna you know where speed is. It's worth picking it up, even if it's nothing. You're gonna reset back to that point. You still can pick up speed if you want it, and you probably do.
I don't think it was worth it if nothing was behind speed, because
fair enough.
You do Ridley and you leave through reverse acid dive.
Okay, good
and
point.
You take the Meyer portal and turn in the green pendant.
Okay, good point. Good point.
And so you're not going back by speed booster.
Okay.
So that's why I was kind of shaking my head. I was pretty sad about speed where it was, because there was a very real chance that I was just giving up on it, and I didn't think that was a likely situation that Eykir would be in. So I thought I was very likely at a speed disadvantage.
And Eykir, you getting that hook shot. I wanted to see Swamp from you because thought process, opponent hovers. If it's hookshot cave, I'm in trouble anyway. I want that hookshot to mean that I want it to be the thing my opponent skipped. You never got there, and frankly, it never even got into logic because for a long time those slippers were speed lock. We didn't have speed booster. Any thoughts about going and doing any of those checks?
I didn't think about Swamp because really what I should have done when I got the hook shot was to go back to hook shot K, because that takes away the hover advantage that Maniacal has on me. And instead, I just left it and I went to Lower Norfair, because in the previous race with Solski, Lower Norfair was also a green pendant, and I skipped the entire Norfair. And I thought, that's not going to happen twice in a row. Something is going to be down there. It's not going to do that. And we found an ice rod there, so I was right. I just did everything else before that in Norfair. And that felt bad. I wish I checked it before I went down there. Once I saw a speed booster, it's like, oh, well, now that's in logic. I can do that. And I really wanted more to do Desert, Mire, and see what those were than it was to check Crocomire, which was the thinking there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting on the pre-stream that for so long, kind of the way it opened up, Eykir, you were just following Maniacal a little bit, just a little bit behind for quite a while, and it was like, oh, when the hookshot popped, it was like, oh, wait, now Eykir can do, maybe a little bit more instead of do Ice Palace potentially somewhere in here, like, because it's more likely to be logical. Maybe he does Swamp, but like there were too many other good things. Like, is that kind of how you felt, like that it opened up and there was lots of good things everywhere?
There were a lot of good things. I tried to go where I thought Maniacal would, which was Lower Norfair, because I think Maniacal's a strong Super Metroid player, and if I had to think about where he'd go, I think he'd probably go to play his strengths. The hovering in Hookshot Cave and Lower Norfair. And so I tried to follow him. Okay,
so the funniest part of the race, and kind of the saddest part at the same time, you know, one by one, you go into Lower Norfair, you go to kill GT, and you get 2 medallions. And of course, Maniacal gets the 2 medallions, and he's like, well, I'm good to go for Misery Mire. And then of course it's still Quake. And so the look on the whole look on your face, and I don't know if that's when the camera was frozen.
I don't believe that was on restream.
Yeah, that is such a shame, because unfortunately we had some camera issues where it was frozen, and it just, the look on your face was actually absolutely precious. Eykir, on the other hand, we knew it was going to be the opposite. You get the 2 medallions, because you're disincentivized from even going down there, because you don't have any medallions to do Misery Mire. You go down there and like, all right, now I've got 2 medallions. It's actually more than 2/3, because there's that chance that the one you don't need is in GT, and sure enough, you get the 2 medallions, and it's not the one you need.
Yeah, I thought about that, and it's like, dang, gold troll Rizzo, because he sure was.
Today he was, absolutely.
It's like, really?
Sure was. Yeah, it was like medallion clown car roulette there, and I was like, well, we're good to go, but this is not what I was planning on with this route.
Playing the shell game with me, and house wins.
Maniacal, any thoughts of doing Turtle Rock without the ice rod?
I was entertaining it, yeah. I think if speed comes up empty, green pendant comes up empty. The only mirror checks I had were Swamp and Bombos tab, and I was like flipping coins in my head for about 30 minutes there as things were starting to dry up as to whether I was going to try to portal save or whether I was going to do the pendants and mirror checks to guarantee the portal save. Like whether I wanted to preferentially just dive Turtle Rock and let the ice rod be there, or whether I wanted to try and like guarantee that I'd be able to. So I was either going to do it after Swamp and Bombos tab, or I was going to do it first. After cleaning up Super Metroid, probably accepting Shack Tool.
Yeah. And you weren't gonna ever go.
No, I actually probably. I don't know. I might have done Shack Tool.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's effectively a mirror check.
And you knew it was in logic.
Yeah.
With the Grappleby, no need to go back and get it. You just go ahead and do the ice clip at that point. But yeah, that was.
Yeah, I committed in my head, if I found Quake first, I was just going to YOLO Turtle Rock and hope it was there.
Yep.
It's completely fair, really. Like, I definitely entertained the play, and I mean, how many times has Ice Rod just been there?
Yeah, absolutely. Happens all the time.
Earlier today for me.
Yep,
just chilling in the roller right side.
Hey, that sounds familiar.
I play all these games.
Oh, is that the seed you guys played in
yeah.
the past?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, the ped check. I was thinking about that seed Kip gave us with ped ice.
I mean,
Ice rod.
I've had it happen recently in Kip's procedurally generated playdown. And when I got the hook shot, I was like, okay, well, this is now on the table. I don't have the speed booster yet to put the flippers in logic, but like I at least want to protect myself against it. Because Eykir and I were talking earlier about the race with Solsky and some other races, and he was like, yeah, in like talking about the lower Norfair skip when it was appended, talking about having scouted PED early in a race and been able to save time, although it sounds like it wasn't quite enough in that one. But you know, knowing my opponent is open to making these sorts of plays, like, you know, that sits in your mind a little bit, and you say, okay, well, what do I think they're actually doing?
Okay, so Eykir, a great showing. Beat Solsky. That's no small feat. Former champion. Did really well in Link to the Past as well. Made to the quarterfinals there. So, what's your final thoughts on participating in this tournament?
SpeedGaming Live has been great. Really enjoying meeting all the people here, and we have a great crew running everything from behind the scenes. So, all the commentators, trackers, restreamers, especially the tech people. Give them shouts out. And I did way better than I thought I was. I thought I wasn't even going to be playing today. And then I've had 4 games. I'm shocked, pretty much the same as everyone else is.
And you want to tell us a little about your little friend there on your shoulder?
Yeah, I picked this up at Gen Con this year. I was walking by a booth and just saw, hey, is that what I think it is? Tell me what this is. And they said, it's a Metroid. I'm like, sold. I need to take that to SGL with me. And I've just been wearing it all day. Kind of good luck charm. I got through 2 games.
Yeah, it's gotten you gotten you pretty far, I guess.
Something to stand out.
Maniacal. If you don't want spoilers, don't look at chat down there on my computer on who you're going to play.
Yeah,
it got there before I could do anything about it. You know.
I'm going to have to find out real soon because we're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I'm not going to get to watch that one back organically, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you're playing Andy, and you're playing Andy.
Yeah,
so you're playing.
I get to race Andy, and it's scheduled for 13 minutes. I might try and push back a few more. It's going to take me longer than that to move my setup between rooms, honestly.
And I think that's getting a restream. So
yeah, I think we're on SpeedGaming main for that one.
Awesome. Glad you're going to get a SpeedGaming main there.
Yeah, I'm super stoked because Ack and Dante are on comms,
and
so they're going to tear us apart. And I'm so excited for it, really. Just love everyone who's been putting all the work into this. You know, Ace and Tracy as well on comms here. Super stoked to watch back and hear like what you thought as things were developing, and kind of to see Eykir's side of things as well. But yeah, really, you know, have had fun. Very excited to get to race Andy, and then to get to race Andy. I have a feeling that, you know, given that Andy's real good at both Super Metroid and A Link to the Past, there's a very real chance that those are my last 2 races of SGL.
Well, I mean, I think it's a really good chance that no matter what happens against Andy tonight, depending on when you schedule for tomorrow, it might be your last game of SGL because this is the last race. So.
Yeah. For SMZ3, it's definitely the last personnel race. But for LttPR, we'll see. And, you know, huge shout-outs to Eykir, who's been tearing things up this weekend as well. Like, everyone in the top 4 of SMZ3 is in the top 8 of ALTTPR, and that's awesome.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
To really see, you know, SMZ3 being represented by people who are doing well in single games as well. Sadly, the Super Metroid representation on the SMZ3 side was a little less this time around, but you know, I've really loved getting to meet and race everyone. It's been a really good experience.
Yeah, so big shout out to Maniacal. He's been a great person to hang out with like all weekend, just trading stories back and forth and just chatting on stuff. And it's criminal that I've had 3 restreams and this was his first. So hopefully he gets the next 2 restreams to catch me up with me. Yeah, because he's a much better player than I am.
Yeah, in fact, I'm gonna guess that any races going forward, not just these next Andy races, if you do win against Andy, I would have to assume the semifinals just might get restreamed on Link to the Past.
I can't imagine missing the opportunity to share with people the semifinals of ALTTPR.
Absolutely.
There aren't enough games left for Sunday that I think that won't be as much of a problem. But
absolutely.
Everything's
I mean, of course, it's guaranteed.
Okay. The off-screen super secret.
I mean, we're being told it'll be guaranteed, so no one worry about that.
But yeah, I should probably
we're gonna
start getting
ready
definitely
definitely get ready. Good luck against Andy, and good luck against Andy. Eykir, great to meet you this weekend. Maniacal and I had met before. Great to see you again.
Yeah, great meeting you too.
Ace as well.
Great
This has
meeting
been an
all three of
absolute
you.
blast. We'll
Ace as
go ahead
well.
and let Maniacal get set up. I think that's going to be on you said SpeedGaming main, so it's going to be on SpeedGaming main. So when we're done here, go turn to that channel, and we'll all see you there.
We're probably gonna host them. I would bet.
Yeah, probably going to
There's
host it.
probably not
But,
too many
you know,
SpeedGaming
give them
channels
that
left.
extra viewer, by actually going to the channel. So there you go. All right.